This video continues with page 61. Dragon Ball, God of Destruction Chat Group, page 61. After the fight just now, Kessie can roughly judge the current strength level of her own God of Destruction. Of course, this refers to the strength of the four bellies after their chi is equally divided, not the one she imagined. Kessie, the real battle is coming next. You have to be careful. Belly said after a moment of silence. With his current appearance, Bellies felt that if he took back 4 more of his energy, the Saiyan blood in him would definitely return to his ancestors. This throwback may not change much in appearance. However, this feeling of being unable to control made her very uneasy. Chapter 63, The Battle Ends. Bellies took a deep breath. In addition to the main body, the other 3 clones became transparent and slowly disappeared. Then the 3 clones dispersed. The energy in Bailey's body increased geometrically again. This energy, which was many times greater than before, made Kessie, whose eyes had always been calm, a little stunned. Just like the hair of a 3rd-level Super Saiyan, at this time, the hair is gradually covered with a layer of white light. The peaceful energy also became more violent. This kind of courage is no weaker than Lord Rumsey. In the realm of nothingness, a ray of white light flashed across. A heavy fist hit him. Boom! After being hit, a burst of extremely strong energy field erupted around Kessie's body. She quickly backed away from the blast smoke. Looking at Bellies in the distance, there was a hint of seriousness in her eyes. It's not at the same level as before. Although as an angel, even if she is not good at fighting, her overall strength far exceeds that of the God of Destruction. She is able to easily subdue even this transformation of her own God of Destruction. However, Kessie's goal is not to defeat Bellies. Rather, I want to see Bellies' growth and improvement in strength in the past few years, so that I can set up a better training plan in the future. It is impossible for Kessie to teach Bellies, now like the ordinary God of Destruction. She is separated from the universe. Thinking about it from another angle, she became her former disciple and now the leader of the God of Destruction. Although I don't know what level Bellies can reach in the future, she will help as much as possible while she can still help. Kessie changed the scepter to her left hand and slightly shook her numb palm. The violent aura is completely different from the self-extreme intention Kung Fu I teach. It is more like the potential of a bloodline, an advancement after combining with the power of the God of Destruction. Kessie stared at Bellies. At this time, Bellies' expression looked extremely cold. The soft white hair turned into sharp and snow-white hair, draped generously on her shoulders. Surrounding his body was an extremely pale aura, exuding an aura that was inaccessible to strangers. Call out. Bellies disappeared from Kessie's sight again. Teleport. No, there are no traces of spatial ripples. While Kessie was thinking, Bellies had already arrived in front of her. She stretched out her fist and punched Kessie. Is it just the speed? Kessie dodged lightly, and with the angel scepter in her hand, she gently flicked the wrist of Bellies' fist that was hitting her, dislocating Bellies' attack. Change the scepter from your left hand to your right hand. The terrifying fist wind flew directly past Kessie's ears. Even the angel's white hair was slightly blowing at this time. The next moment, when Kessie dodges Bellies' attack, Bellies strikes again. Countless fists turned into afterimages and kept hitting various parts of Kessie's body. Dodge left and right, turn left and right, spin and jump. Even with Bellies' terrifying power and Kessie's outstanding skills, she gained nothing. Roar. Like the roar of a wild animal. A strong chi burst out, and without Kessie's attention, she was blown away by the burst of chi. Could it be that consciousness has been swallowed up? Kessie's eyes showed solemnity. If this is the case, the only option is to knock Lady Bellies unconscious first. Kess, please, give me some time. What? A voice suddenly came to mind, and Kessie frowned slightly. Lord Bellies. There was some uncertainty in his voice. I've thought of a way to control it. Can you please block my body? I need some time now. I'll do my best, but you must be careful when it comes to your soul. Do you understand? Although she didn't know what Bellies wanted to do, Kessie still warned her. It is good. The voice in her head disappeared, and the pupils in Belize's eyes completely lost focus. Kessie hesitated for a moment, but decided to do what Belize wanted. She quickly rushed towards Belize. Roar tilde. Belize placed her palms together in front of her, and then a monstrous wave of pure white energy rushed towards Kessie. Seeing this, Kessie hurriedly avoided. However, just as Kessie avoided the energy wave, Belize's figure appeared again on the left. He kicked her hard. Kessie used the top of the scepter to block the kick coming from below, and then retreated to avoid the opponent's attack range. After the attack failed, Belize opened her hands and kept sending energy bombs in the direction of Kessie. Ho 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 ho. Dense balls of light kept shooting out, moving in the space like raindrops. The energy balls shone with a dazzling luster, and there were so many of them that the almost non-existent gaps made it difficult for even the ultimate mind power to avoid them. Kessie raised her scepter and whispered. A barrier appears and quickly wraps itself around. Boom, 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 boom. The energy bomb hit the barrier, blocking Todoroki without any hesitation. The barrier made bursts of explosions and even caused ripples of smoke and dust. Taking advantage of the smoke that affected her vision, Belize moved very quickly and dodged behind Kessie. Cross your fingers together and chop heavily from top to bottom. Incredible ripples kept trembling in the barrier. Seeing the purple destructive power wrapped around Belize's hands, Kessie casually untied the barrier. Losing her resistance, the fist fell, causing Belize's center of gravity to become unstable, and she almost fell down. Kessie used the scepter in her hand and took this opportunity to lightly tap the back covered by white hair. Almost in the next second, Belize flew out upside down. The power has begun to stabilize, and the violent feeling has also weakened. Since the battle, Kessie can clearly feel the energy situation in Belize's body. Then, just wait a little longer. I don't know how long it took, but in the God of Destruction world, Kes took Belize back from the realm of nothingness. Belize's feet had just landed. Click, page 62. Where Belize's feet landed, a terrifying crack instantly spread to the entire God of Destruction realm. I've been very careful to control it. Belize looked at Kessie next to her with watery eyes. Hey tilde key seaside and tapped the ground lightly with the end of the angel's scepter. The cracked lines on the ground were quickly repaired. Lord Belize, you will continue to practice in this state from now on until you get used to it. Can't you change back? Belize asked uncertainly. Your current chi has exceeded the current limit of your body and soul. It is only because of the transformation and the return to the ancestral bloodline that the upper limit is forcibly raised, so that you can barely bear it. It's not impossible if it changes back to normal. But do you want to sleep for hundreds of years to completely stabilize the energy in your body? Kessie saw Belize's thoughts. Although it is not very long, many gods of destruction sleep according to the rules of thousands of years. Calculate. Let's forget it. Belize twitched the corner of her mouth. Hundreds of years. How many of those idiot friends are still alive? Then, how long will it take for me to change back? Just straighten your hedgehog's hair caused by your excessive energy, and then maintain the energy that spreads wantonly into your body until it reaches a decisive level. However, by then, you won't need any transformation. It will be normal now. Most of the transformations are the so-called combat form caused by the inability to maintain a high load of energy. Okay, I'll try my best. Belize curled her lips and thought it would be better to forget about sleeping to death for hundreds of years or something. Although the current situation is more troublesome, it is not impossible to live. Belize walked cautiously back to her bedroom. She no longer wanted to think about it anymore, she just wanted to have a good rest. As long as she didn't sleep to death, she could still maintain her transformed form. Click. The bed is up. Still cracked in the middle. Belize. I just touched it and haven't fully laid on it yet. Do you know how big a blow it was to my young mind like a bed? Those who didn't know thought I was doing some strenuous exercise. Chapter 64 Spider, by Jai. Zijida, haven't seen the group leader for many days. I miss her. Irina, at Uchiha Madara, Does Grandpa Madara know where the group leader went? Since the last time the group leader told Sasuke about the world mission, the group leader's profile picture has not flashed during this period of time. Uchiha Madara, I am just a small administrator. How do I know about the group leader? Besides, we are not from the same world. Uchiha Madara, at Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, don't call me grandpa, I just look a little older in my avatar, but I'm actually younger than many people. At Chinese letter, at Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, they are all several years older than me times. Uchiha Madara was stunned. Why is Arena called Ying, either by name or sister? His name is Zeref, either his brother or his teacher. But when you come to him, you become a super double and become a grandpa. It must have been infected by this spider with a small brain. Ying, at Uchiha Madara, actually I am still very young. Really, I am asleep most of the time. My real age should not be much. Zerf. As the most powerful magician in the fairy tale world, he didn't understand why Ying would care about age. He was already at least several hundred years old. The world's #1 princess. I seem to have seen something interesting. Someone was super doubled. Uchiha Madara. Fluorescent. The group leader always pops up when discussing inexplicable things. Seeing the familiar nickname on the public screen, Spider became excited. Zijido, Master, I finally saw you. I thought something happened to you. The world's #1 princess. What can I do? I just need to spend more time practicing. The world's #1 princess. Spider-Man, have you become a god? Have I been offline for a long time? Spider, become a god. What the hell? You don't mean to say that I can only turn back into a human being if I become a god, right? Spider's Eye, who is half human and half spider, experienced the initial confusion. A certain Q lie appeared in his mind, plus the evil god D, and he seemed to have an absurd idea. The world's #1 princess. What did I say? I didn't say anything. Seeing Spider-Man's human avatar, still with white hair and long eyelashes, Bellies couldn't help but think of Spider-Man's human form. Spider, wow, the group leader is really bullying people. What you just said clearly, you are lying to Spider again. The world's #1 princess. Okay, I admit it. I just said that only by becoming a god can you completely transform into a human appearance. Spider, it's true. Spider Zai had a frustrated look on his face. He had obviously evolved to the point where there was no end to his progress, but at present, he was only half human and half spider. There was no way to fully transform back into a human being. Therefore, Spider Zai will always talk about the group leader in the group. Aizen Saosuk. At World's First Princess, in Spider-Man's world, other races can only become gods to take on human appearance. In Soul Society, Aizen Sasuk has a relatively deep understanding of Spider-Man, who is often active in the group. Moreover, from time to time, Spider-Z would post intimate photos of himself and the Demon King to the group, giving other group members the benefit of the doubt. It was hard not to know. The world's #1 princess, that's it. Is there any problem? Aizen Sasuk, Spider's best friend, the Demon King named Ariel, has not become a god. If she is Spider, how can she maintain her human form? The world's #1 princess. It's not good to be too curious. At Chinese letter SORTSOYOUSUKE, but it doesn't matter if I tell you, the Demon King Ariel is a human being. Aizen Sasuk, I see. After all, the creature was transformed with Hongyoku. Aizen Sasuk knew that the group leader's answer was correct, and he could easily guess the cause of Demon King Ariel. However, a certain spider was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Spider, is this true? The world's #1 princess. More real than pearls, Spider-Man, have you seen Potamus? Spider, the leader of the elves. I had a fight with him before, but in the middle of the fight, the Demon King Ariel fell from the sky and crushed Potamus with a kick. However, the one that was trampled seemed to be a robot. Moreover, when Ariel arrived, Spider-Man was a little unconvinced by Potamus's tone and actions, saying that there was no personal grudge. The #1 princess in the world. At Spider's Eye, the Demon King has never mentioned what I'm going to say to you, So it's best for you to pretend you don't know. Do you understand? Spider, why? The world's #1 princess. Ariel turned out to be a human, and Potamus was the leader of the elves from beginning to end, and the world's #1 princess. In a sense, Potamus is the father of the Demon King Ariel. Spider-Man was stunned. Elf father human, Demon King Ariel. Spider, master, you don't want to say. The world's #1 princess. It's just what you think. Spider, why do you do such a thing? Spider's eye could only think of a few words in his mind. Transform people. Potamus, the leader of the elves, stole Ariel from humans and transformed her into the original spider. The world's #1 princess. Although Potamus is not as powerful as the current Demon King, it is not impossible for him to kill the Demon King. Taking this as an inference, why do you think Potamus did this? Spider, become a god. Spider's eye had an answer in his mind, but he was a little unsure. The world's #1 princess. Who knows? By the way, Zyabai, since you have evolved to the last step of the system, then according to my agreement with D, she will test you. Spider, the world's #1 princess. I don't know exactly how it will be tested. It may suit D's own bad taste. Hearing what the group leader said, Spider's eye suddenly shivered in fear. Spider, can I not go? The world's #1 princess. Okay. Spider, that's great. The world's #1 princess. Evil God D has little patience with Q lie. If you cannot become a god within a certain period of time and pass her test, the planet may be destroyed. Spider, what do you mean, if she doesn't become a god, the planet will be destroyed? Isn't this alarmist? Chapter 65. Emotionally, she is still the hope of the whole world. Chapter 65, Konoha, hindering the peace of the ninja world. Spider, then, how can I become a god? She didn't want to die. She worked so hard to become half human and half spider. It wasn't worth dying. The world's #1 princess. I can't tell you. This is the agreement between D and I. If you keep going according to the situation, you will definitely have a chance. I can only tell you that your chance to become a god is in a ruins. The world's #1 princess. Of course, this is something you will do in the future. As for whether it will change after joining the chat group, I don't know. Anyway, it is not an important thing to me. Spider. She knew that the leader of the group was a riddler and liked to catch spiders. Bailey's did not tell Spider's eye the detailed process. Some things are more likely to be vague if they are stated vaguely. Once they are made clear, changes are likely to occur. In the original novel, Spider-Girl becoming a god was itself a very unexpected thing. In fact, it doesn't matter even if Spider's eye doesn't become a god. That kind of god is nothing at all. Even D himself doesn't care. He just thinks Spider's eye is interesting and gives her a chance. After telling the story about Spider-Man, Bailey's thought of another thing in the chat group. I don't know what Uchiha Sasuke is thinking about. Of course, whether it was rejection or agreement, Bailey's did not have much emotional fluctuations. At best, it's just a little troublesome to collect the rules of the Naruto world. Besides, Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Sasuke are 100% able to use the Dragon Balls, and it is not difficult to collect the laws of the Naruto world. As for how the Dragon Balls are used by the two of them, Bailey's has no control over them. The world's #1 princess. At Uchiha Sasuke, are you here? Uchiha Sasuke, I'm here, group leader. The world's #1 princess. What do you think about it? Do you want to agree? Just follow your own ideas. There is no need to worry that I will be angry. Uchiha Sasuke. Madara has told me about this before, but I don't know how to make most people living in the ninja world agree with me from the bottom of their hearts. The #1 princess in the world. You can do whatever you want. The system will use the rules to judge the recognition of you by the living people in the ninja world. When it exceeds 50%, it can be considered that your mission is completed. The world's #1 princess. To tell you the truth, only if you reach more than half of the recognition can I use the rules of the chat group to pull your planet into the universe under my jurisdiction. The world's #1 princess. At that time, I will resurrect your people according to the rewards for completing the mission. The world's #1 princess. but it's limited to that one time. Even I can't casually violate the life and death theory that governs the universe. Otherwise, it will have a great impact on the laws of my own universe. The last words are pure deception, but if you can't violate it in matters of life and death, you'd better try not to violate it. If the boundaries between life and death are too blurred, it will have a negative impact on the development of the universe. Uchiha Madara. At Chinese letter, FIRST Princess, I assist Uchiha Sasuke and complete his world mission. What can I get? The world's #1 princess. How about resurrecting you and your brother Kwanna? Uchiha Madara. Okay, I agree. Madara Uchiha seemed to be afraid that the group leader would regret it. It's better to use points sparingly if you can. Anyway, I don't plan to use unlimited monthly reading. The group leader, the world's #1 princess, releases world tasks. Task World, Naruto World. Ding, Sasuke Uchiha, accept the mission. Madara Uchiha, accept the mission. At this time, the world of Naruto. Uchiha Sasuke looked at the task list in the chat group and fell into deep thought. 5 years. Don't say too much, say too little. But in 5 years, it is simply impossible to get at least half of the people in the ninja world to return to him. Uchiha Sasuke is not a daimyo or shadow from a big country, so how could he have such great influence? Even a kage or a daimyo must conquer at least half of the ninja world to have such recognition. Uchiha Sasuke, at the world's first princess, is there only 5 years. The world's #1 princess. Yes, you can use illusions to control everyone, and even kill everyone who disobeys you, leaving only those who approve of you, that's fine. The world's #1 princess. As long as you can meet the minimum requirements of the mission, I will reward you and Uchiha Madara according to the mission content. Irina, isn't it? Too cruel. Irina, who had just prepared to travel, felt a little unbearable. The #1 princess in the world. The reward for resurrecting so many people is itself a test for Uchiha Sasuke. If it cannot be achieved, I will only declare the mission failed and there will be no punishment. The first princess of the world. However, if I drag you to the universe under my jurisdiction, once the evaluation of the planet is lower than the minimum rating standard of the entire universe due to your past actions, I will not give you any rewards after giving you rewards. Hesitantly destroy it. The #1 princess in the world. Of course, the people who were destroyed include you, even if you are a member of the group. Uchiha Sasuke, after being in the group for so long, Uchiha Madara must have told you what I do. After hearing this, Uchiha Sasuke fell into a long silence and did not answer. Uchiha Madara. You mean you can't kill at will? What is the rating standard for the universe you manage? How do we know that after we enter your jurisdiction, we will not be destroyed by you the next second? The first princess of the world. The specific evaluation criteria are determined by the universe coefficient, and I am just the executor. What I tell you is that the evaluation criteria are roughly related to the ecology of the planet, the strength of life, the value of death, and the lifespan of the planet. The prospects of the planet, and so on, are related. The world's #1 princess. Although your current ninja world has a much lower value under the influence of chakra fruit, there is still a long way to go before destroying the red line, so there is no need to worry. Uchiha Sasuke, can I ask for outside help? Uchiha Madara. Madara Uchiha of Pure Land was confused. Am I not a foreign aid? Uchiha Madara, Sasuke, what do you mean? Uchiha Sasuke, if you want to help me, wait until you kick off the coffin board. Uchiha Madara. The world's #1 princess. Who are you looking for, Uchiha Itachi? Uchiha Sasuke. It's not him, and I don't want to care about that guy. I will prove that he is wrong. Konoha is an obstacle to the peace of the ninja world. The world's #1 princess. Well, it seems you already have an idea. Can you tell me who it is? Uchiha Sasuke. Orochimaru, he is very interested in eternal life. I am sure to convince him, but I don't know about the chat group. The purpose of Uchiha Sasuke's words was to ask the group leader what they thought of Orochimaru. After all, people like Orochimaru were not in line with ordinary people's perceptions. I still have a lot to think about. In the God of Destruction realm, Bellies smiled slightly. Immediately, she posted on the public screen. The world's #1 princess. Okay, but please ensure your own safety. If something happens to you because of the revelation of the chat group, I don't care. Uchiha Sasuke, thank you, group leader. After receiving the group leader's consent, Uchiha Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief. It was not difficult for Sasuke to get Orochimaru to help. Orochimaru has lived here for 2 years. Apart from being greedy for his body, Orochimaru treats him well. Chapter 66, Uchiha Sasuke and Orochimaru. Uchiha Sasuke came to Orochimaru's bedroom again. In the room, as usual, Kabuto was taking care of Orochimaru on the hospital bed. Kabuto didn't even raise his head when he saw Sasuke coming. Sasuke-kun, you haven't come to see me for a while, Orochimaru said in a hoarse voice with a hint of a chuckle. I have a favor to ask of you, Sasuke said. Uchiha Sasuke, don't push yourself too far. Kabuto Yakashi suddenly raised his head. Last time, I compiled the information for Uchiha Sasuke, but I was exhausted from working overtime day and night. Hearing that Sasuke came to ask Orochimaru to do something again, Kabuto couldn't hold back. Kabuto listened to Sasuke-kun. Orochimaru coughed a few times and shook his head at Kabuto beside him. Yakashi Kabuto. You are not in good health, Orochimaru. Looking at Orochimaru's face, which was even paler than last time, Uchiha Sasuke said calmly. That's, compared to yours, this original body is really not that good. Orochimaru did not hide his desire for Sasuke's body at all. Is it interesting to live on and on? Even if you can get me, how long can you hold on? Changing bodies every 3 years is not something Uchiha Sasuke made up, but Orochimaru has been like this for several reincarnations. Haha, if the body is matched, it won't be a problem if it lasts for 10 or 8 years. By then, I'm afraid I will have a better way to make up for it, Orochimaru said. Then you really worked hard. Sasuke couldn't deny Orochimaru's explanation. Sasuke-kun, you have really changed a lot these days. If I guess correctly, you have opened those eyes, right? The information revealed in Orochimaru's unhurried words made Kabuto Yakashi's expression suddenly change. Manjikyo Sharingan. These words suddenly appeared in everyone's mind. Page 64. What are you going to do if I say yes? Uchiha Sasuke's dark eyes turned into scarlet 3 Magatama. What should I do? Orochimaru said. Compared to the Manjikyo Sharingan, I'm more curious about what happened that made you so stable. And Orochimaru said this and paused for a while. What do you think after reading the information collected by Kabuto? I mean, the Uchiha genocide. Boom! As soon as Orochimaru finished speaking, terrifying chakra filled the air. Uchiha Sasuke's 3 Magatama Sharingan rotated rapidly and turned into the shape of a kaleidoscope of 6-pointed stars. Man, Manjikyo Sharingan, Kabuto was shocked. Even though Lord Orochimaru said it clearly, Kabuto still didn't believe that Sasuke could open those eyes now. Uchiha Sasuke exhaled, and the chakra surrounding the entire house slowly dissipated, leaving only the kaleidoscope shape of his pupils. Cough, cough, cough. Orochimaru coughed several times again, which seemed to be caused by the chakra released by Sasuke just now. Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto quickly wanted to give Orochimaru medicine. I'm fine, Kabuto. After Orochimaru coughed, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. It's really rare that you didn't attack me. It's so easy to do so. I'm afraid it took a while for your eyes to open. For the study of Sharingan, Orochimaru surpassed anyone else. Orochimaru also vaguely speculated on the specificity of the kaleidoscope changes required by the Sharingan. Orochimaru was completely convinced after seeing Sasuke's Manjikyo Sharingan. In fact, Orochimaru has realized that the final evolved form of the Sharingan is Pain's Rinnegan. Orochimaru, why did you attack the 3rd Hokage? For Konoha, or because he is your teacher? The purpose of Uchiha Sasuke's coming here was to confirm Orochimaru's thoughts and then formulate a plan. In the given future he saw, Orochimaru once said that his purpose of killing the 3rd generation seemed to be to make the windmill spin. Everyone has their own opinion on what this spin means. I see you who seem to know the truth are still on the opposite side in the end. Orochimaru smiled hoarsely. Sasuke-kun, I have no opinion on Konoha. Are you satisfied with this answer? The Mangekyo Sharingan rotated rapidly, and in an instant, Orochimaru felt the surrounding scenery change. Illusion. However, Orochimaru was not anxious or angry. Sasuke, who has the Mangekyo Sharingan, does not have much hope of winning now, but it is completely impossible for Sasuke to kill him. He has left dozens of backups all over the ninja world, and there are many ways to revive them. Unfortunately, if Sasuke killed him, Kabuto would probably die as well. It would be a pity for such an outstanding and hard-working subordinate to die casually. However, nothing resembling painful torture appeared. Uchiha Sasuke opposite him just looked at him quietly. Sasuke-kun, what are you going to do? Orochimaru said leisurely. I know that I can't kill you. The reason why I came to you is to hope that you can join me. Oh, Orochimaru neither agreed nor refused, so what does Sasuke-kun want to do? Orochimaru, since you are curious, take a closer look at what you want to know, or what I want you to know. The Mangekyo Sharingan turned again, and Sasuke and Orochimaru were in the Blood Moon scene. Transformations begin to occur. Outside world, Kabuto was shocked to see Orochimaru fall under the Genjutsu. Lord Orochimaru, Kabuto's face grew ferocious. Damn Uchiha Sasuke, what did you just say not to take action against Orochimaru-sama? Where is your face? Kabuto grabbed the medical 1,000 books on the table, condensed the chakra knife in his palm, and prepared to attack Uchiha Sasuke and protect his respected Orochimaru. Cough, 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 hey tilde burp. Orochimaru on the bed vomited several mouthfuls of blood, with an extremely sick look on his face. Master Orochimaru. Kabuto put down Senbin and quickly picked up the wooden bucket under the bed to catch Orochimaru's vomit. No, Kabuto. Orochimaru wiped the corners of his mouth with his hands without any regard for appearance. Sasuke-kun, you really made an offer that I can't refuse, and your opportunities are really enviable. Six Paths Sage, Otsutsuki Kaguya, Uchiha Madara, and the mysterious group leader, haha. Orochimaru raised his head, with a look of madness on his morbid face. Sasuke-kun, since you are the reincarnation of Indra, you are not sure whether you are being monitored by the Sage of Six Paths. I know that the group leader has blocked that surveillance. Uchiha Sasuke said, how about it, Orochimaru, do you agree? Sasuke-kun, I can't refuse, can I? You have shown me a broader sky. Orochimaru collected his thoughts, took a breath, vomited a few mouthfuls of blood again, and said, within 5 years, I will help you realize your wish and find a way to find Uchiha Madara's body. Since the ninja Shura will help, staying in the Pure Land is a bit of a waste. However, the specific plan will have to wait until I get my hands back, okay? Orochimaru said. Okay, Sasuke nodded. Orochimaru saw the picture of the future, so it was normal to have his own ideas. In Boruto, Orochimaru is the only one who has not been weakened and has been strengthened. Chapter 67, Evil God D and Kurapika. The universe of Spider-Man's world. In the underworld. Netherworld, it's okay. I want to go out and play for a while. I'll do my work later. Sitting in front of the workbench, Evil God D put his hands on the stand with his hands stretched out, a look of despair on his face. No, Lord D, you want to sneak out and leave the work to me again. Are you the master of the underworld, or am I the master of the underworld? A woman with shoulder-length hair in a maid outfit stood behind D, tapping her fingers on the table to remind Evil God D to work harder. Speaking of which, if Master D hadn't released your aura, I wouldn't have known where to find you. Also, did you have fun? You are so leisurely. You are not good at being a student. When you are bullied, you don't fight back and help others reincarnate. The maid sister Mingtu really doesn't know how to complain about her immediate boss. That was an accident, but the little spider named Bai Zhai is also very interesting. Evil God D commented with interest. HMPH, you dare to say that recruiting strong men from other universes might be very troublesome if the coordinates of our universe are exposed. Netherworld, I am serious this time. I plan to establish a relationship with the god named Baileys. If possible, I would like to take the next step. After hearing this, Mingtu was silent for a long time and sighed. Hey, it's up to you. You are the highest god in this universe. Even if I want to refute, if you really want to do it, I can't stop you. It's like dragging the evil god D back to work. If D really wants to run away, she can't drag him back. D leaned on the chair and looked up at the maid Mingtu standing beside him. In the battle with the other universe manager, I found that I was no match for her. The most important thing is that her breath of life made me feel very young. Didn't you say that she is just a projection? That's right. Evil god D sighed and said in a solemn voice, but even so, even if I try to defeat her with the help of the blessing buff of the entire universe, I will most likely be seriously injured. Young universe manager, a world of such strong people may be very dangerous. Mingtu thought thoughtfully. So, I plan to join that chat group first to at least know her general personality before we discuss it. Although I didn't spend much time talking to her, based on experience, I can tell that she is not the kind of god who insists on the laws of the Black Forest or imposes difficulties on others. Like you, do you believe in equal exchange? Most likely, yes. I can make some inferences about her helping that little spider. Hearing these words, the maid spread her hands. You don't need to tell me about this. I am just your subordinate. However, I hope you will consider it carefully when making a decision. Okay, D nodded. Huh? Evil god D raised his eyebrows. What happened? I might have to go out. It's time to give that little spider a test, D said. Will she come when the time comes? If you can, please take me with you, the maid of Hades said seriously. No matter where D goes, for such a dangerous and powerful man, it is better to have a helper than none. No problem. D nodded, then grabbed a pile of documents on the table with both hands and put them in front of the maid. Then I'll leave the matters here to you. Don't worry, I won't deduct your salary. I'm cute, Miss Hades. Mingtu had a dark look on his face as he watched evil god D open the space and leave. As the space channel closed, Mingtu sighed. I hope Master D did not make the wrong decision. In the chat group, after talking about Uchiha Madara and Spider-Man, a new group member who joined before, Kurapika from the Hunter world, began to speak. Kurapika, group leader, if I need to resurrect my people, what will it cost? Like Uchiha Sasuke, Kurapika's clan was also exterminated. The only thing that was not so tragic was that the clan was exterminated by outsiders instead of being killed by close relatives. The #1 princess in the world. This is impossible. Unless there are 2 people in your world in the group, you can use Sasuke's method. Page 65. Kurapika, is that so? Is there no other way? The world's #1 princess. You can only collect Dragon Balls, and you can resurrect whoever you want to resurrect one at a time. Kurapika was a little reluctant, but it was better to resurrect one clan member than none at all. The world's #1 princess. At Kurapika, have you got your hunter's license now? Speaking of which, Bellies still doesn't know where the hunter world has developed. Whether Kurapika's situation is before the hunter exam or after the hunter exam. Kurapika, I haven't gotten it yet. I plan to take the hunter exam this year. There is still about half a year before the registration deadline. The world's #1 princess. In other words, you haven't learned to read yet. Bellies is also somewhat interested in the idea of a full-time hunter world. They seem to be somewhat similar to the Chi in the Dragon Ball world, but more importantly, they are ever-changing and can even be said to touch the law. Of course, the specific Bellies is not known. Kurapika is just an ordinary person now and has never been exposed to telekinesis. And with Bellies' current state, it was impossible for Kurapika to agree to go to his world. Apart from anything else, she is a high-risk existence that can destroy the god realm from time to time, trample everything to pieces, and even collapse the bed while sleeping. How dare Kurapika let her go? Maybe, let alone the dangerous dark continent, the entire planet might be turned into rubble if she wasn't careful. She wanted to go over and help people, and go back to understand the rules along the way, not go over and destroy them. Kurapika, what is Nyan? Kurapika was excited. He had also learned before that the so-called Dragon Ball wish was, to some extent, related to the intensity of the world. Although it was not necessarily completely related, he was certain that the world he was in was not an everyday world. After all, redeeming Dragon Balls requires 6,000 points, which is not what you would expect in the everyday world. The world's number one princess. The so-called mind is the body's chi or the breath of life. I don't know the specifics. I am not from your world. The laws are different and the manifestations will be different. The world's number one princess. Anyway, you just need to know that it is something extraordinary. Kurapika, is it possible for me to learn to read? Kurapika's voice trembled as he was working. If he learns to read, maybe he will have a chance to seek revenge against the spider. The world's number one princess. For the hunter exam in your world, after becoming a hunter, Nyan is a compulsory course. In other words, as long as you become a hunter, the Hunter Association will send someone to teach you how to use Nyan. Bellies also told Kurapika some common sense about Nyan in the hunter world. In Hunter World, Kurapika found a quiet place, sat down, and carefully analyzed what the group leader said. Although these were common sense to hunters, they were equivalent to opening a new door for him. Kurapika, at Chinese letter, NUMBER1 princess, I heard from other group members that you can know the established past and future of all group members through the chat group, so in the future. Have I learned to read, and what is my ability to read? The world's number one princess. You are very smart, Kurapika. You caught the point of what I said. Your telekinesis ability is a manifestation type. After opening the flaming eyes, it will become a rare trait type. The world's number one princess. I won't say anything about your specific reading ability, because I can't guarantee whether you will follow the established direction of learning reading in the future. The thoughts of the same attribute are developed differently by each person. Who knows what kind of telekinesis abilities Kurapika plans to develop after joining the group? Kurapika, please tell me, I will bear all the consequences myself. Bellies was silent for a while, then told him about Kurapika's original telekinesis ability. Speaking of which, Bellies is very interested in the absolute time after Kurapika activates his flaming eyes. That seems to involve the ability of the law. Logically speaking, Kurapika's current strength cannot be touched because of restrictions and oaths. Bellies thought for a while and typed something into the group. The world's number one princess. At Kurapika, if you want to learn the recitation in advance before the hunter exam, I can also teach you, but the process may be a bit dangerous. Chapter 68, Kurapika wants to learn chanting. Kurapika looked at the information on the public screen of the chat group and was silent for a long time. He will become a hunter in the future, and with the help of the Hunter Association, he will learn the ability to read. But the premise is that he can become a hunter. The moment you join the chat group, the future has changed. Kurapika could not guarantee that all the choices he made in the hunter exam would be based on his past future, nor could he guarantee that he would definitely become a hunter. He couldn't ask the group every time he made a choice how he had done it. Putting aside the question of whether it was feasible or not, he had no shame in asking the group leader. After taking a deep breath, Kurapika's consciousness turned to the chat group. Kurapika, at Chinese letter, NUMBERONEPRINCESS, I want to learn. No matter what the danger is, as long as I can learn to recite, everything is worth it. Kurapika knew very well that it was a great honor for the group leader to teach him telekinesis. No matter what happens in the future, I am just an ordinary person now. I only got 10 points for signing in, and I couldn't even buy anything on the trading platform in the group. The world's number one princess. Then you go to the Sky Arena first. Above the 200th floor of the Sky Arena, there are battles between those with telekinesis abilities. The world's number one princess. Find a way to get a ticket to watch the Sky Arena above 200 floors, and then broadcast it live in the group. I need to analyze the laws of telepathy by observing the battles of telekinesis users. Kurapika, the world's number one princess. Is there any problem? Although my strength is pretty good, I can't analyze it without even looking at it, let alone something from a different world. Kurapika, well, that seems right. Kurapika's cheeks twitched slightly as he sat on the chair. This group leader is a bit unreliable. When he doesn't know how to read, how about risking his life? The world's #1 princess. At Kurapika, if you can't get a ticket to the 200th floor, find a way to find a young man named Yungu and a child named Jixi in the Sky Arena. The world's #1 princess. They are all telekinesis users, and Yungu is a hunter from the Hunter Association. Kurapika, hunters. Do you want me to learn telekinesis from them? Hearing the word hunter, Kurapika suddenly thought that Hunter and Nyan were standard. The world's #1 princess. No way, he won't teach you unless you get a hunter's license. In the original work, Yungu taught Gon and Killua the power of Nen. It was just a lie at first, and I had no intention of teaching at all. Of course, it was also Yungu's task to teach them the ability to read, but it was not Yungu's task. He was just bringing his disciples to play games. The world's #1 princess. What I mean is, try to broadcast the live broadcast while you are watching the Jixi competition. I will try to see if I can analyze the composition of telekinesis across the world. Kurapika. It feels so unreliable. The #1 princess in the world. By the way, Kurapika, you can also participate in the Sky Arena competition. Remember, it is best to participate in every competition with flaming eyes and get used to closing and opening flaming eyes at any time. It is easier for you to awaken your thoughts when you are in a state of unstable red eyes. Kurapika, that's true, but I'm worried. The world's #1 princess. Can't you wear colored contact lenses? No one below the 200th floor can tell that you have red eyes. Kurapika, I'm from the Kuruda clan. The world's #1 princess. The name is a little hard to remember. That's okay, it's the same to me. Kurapika. In the God of Destruction realm, after explaining the matter to Kurapika, Belize's consciousness exited the chat group. Because Angel Kessie was just looking for her. Lord Belize, I have analyzed the 2 eyes of God. Kessie held the eye of God in her hand and bowed slightly when she saw Belize approaching. You seem very happy. Belize looked at her in surprise. A bit. Kessie nodded shyly, then straightened her face and said, These 2 gods' eyes can indeed strengthen the laws of our universe, and they can be tested on some planets to strengthen the universe's scoring coefficient. Tell me more about it. In Belize's mind, the information about the Eye of God in the original God emerged. Kessie organized the language and explained. The main function of the Eye of God is to strengthen the user's ability in a certain aspect by locking one's own wishes. This enhanced ability is usually most suitable for the user. It is equivalent to abandoning all-round development and focusing on developing a certain advantage, so that it is easier for them to understand the rules. That is to say, Kessie said this and paused for a while. When the user can understand the law, the constraints of the Eye of God will no longer exist, and the power of will be fed back to the user. Laws, such power, even the weakest one, cannot be understood casually. Belize murmured, sighing, what if we fail? In the original God world, the Eye of God is an external magic organ. As the user dies, the Eye of God dims until the next recognized person appears. In the game, there are only a few people who can open the Eye of God a second time. It seems that there are only the condensed light of Tiandong Group Jade Pavilion, and Maplehara Manio, who is known as Yitiandi. Lord Belize, didn't you guess it? Kessie was silent for a while and said, When the user dies, the power solidified into the wish will be absorbed and stored by the Eye of God. Until the second user appears, of course, I can't be sure whether this user will inherit the previous user's wishes. We don't have enough experimental subjects. However, one thing I can be sure of is that the creation and appearance of the Eye of God, in addition to collecting the power of wish solidification, is to help users master the rules more easily. Can it be mass-produced? Belize asked. No problem, but because I don't fully understand the laws of the world where the Eye of God lives, the things produced may be very different. The scepter in Kessie's hand was gently moved into the open space in front of her, and the dots of laws began to gather. Page 66. Pawkai. A fiery red eye of God fell to the ground. Bellies picked up the eye of God from the ground. The moment the slender fingers touched the eye of God on the ground glowed slightly. Bellies even felt that the energy in her body was somewhat restrained. Lively fire attribute. Purple destructive power emerged from Bellies' body, and the sense of restraint wrapped around her body was instantly erased. Boom! The next second, the eye of God broke into countless fragments, sliding from the gaps between the fingers to the ground. Bellies was speechless for a while. Sure enough, she still couldn't control her power well in the transformed state. He was obviously very careful, but the eye of God suddenly shattered. Chapter 69. The Foodie Spider Swallows the Bomb. I saw the debris slipping like sand from the gaps between Bellies' fingers. Kessie sighed and said, "You are a bit overexerting yourself. This thing called the Eye of God is not very powerful in itself. It is only used for training by some weaker creatures." "I didn't know." Bellies shrugged. "I thought you would make it harder." "Do you want more? If you want, I will make another one for you," Kessie said, holding two gods' eyes brought back from the Teyvat continent in her hand. "Forget it," Bellies waved her hand. "Don't worry about this. If necessary in the future, just make some and throw them to a few planets to see the effect. Think about it, maybe after Naruto world pulls over, throw a few on top to test it." The natural power of the Naruto world is quite similar to the elemental power of the Eye of God. "It's up to you," Kessie nodded. After a while, Bellies is still diving in the group, and the chat group is also quite quiet. Everyone is busy with their own things. Ever since he knew that Kikyo could practice in his soul state, Madara Uchiha couldn't help but become a cultivator. After all, if the world mission is completed, both himself and his brother can be resurrected. So regarding resurrection, Uchiha Madara is not in a hurry to use the Dragon Balls. In order to help Uchiha Sasuke, who is very similar to his younger brother Izuna, Uchiha Madara also entered a state of practice. And buy some training methods from the group that can enhance your strength. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence of the chat group. "Spider, help, the leader of the group is great. The world's #1 princess. Spider, when the Demon King and I went to the demon camp, we accidentally encountered a strange ruins and then met Potamas. A group of us started exploring the ruins. The world's #1 princess. Let's talk about the key points. Potamas teamed up with Spider-Man and the Demon King. Could it be that ruin?" Bellies mused. "Spider, yes, in short, at the bottom of the ruins, we found a bomb capable of destroying the continent. This bomb looks like it is about to detonate. Ying, the bomb that destroyed the continent, a man-made object. While Inazuma was secretly observing Sora, Abyss Princess Ying saw the message Spider Zai posted in the chat group and was quite interested. Spider, yes, I don't know if Potamas did it. I always feel that it is somehow related to him, but he can't control the bomb now. The bomb is ready to explode. There are still 3 minutes left. The world's #1 princess. At Spider's Eye, do you want to turn into a human form? Spider's Eye, ooh. Group leader, you are still talking about this now. Little Spider wants to live, and we will talk about humans and other things later. The world's #1 princess. At Spider's Eye, if you swallow that bomb, you might become a god." When Bellies said this, she was in the ruins with the Demon King, panicking like an ant on a hot pot, and a question mark slowly appeared on her forehead. "Spider, group leader, don't lie to me. If you swallow that kind of thing, even if I have skills, I might not be able to find the ashes. How about group leader, please take some time out of your busy schedule to come over and get the ashes. Has the bomb been defused?" The world's #1 princess. No, I'm still in a state of cultivation. Recently, my power has been a bit out of control. If I go to your side, maybe it won't be a continent that will be destroyed, but the entire planet will be blown up. Spider. Ying, at Chinese letter, NUMBER1 princess. Group leader. Is it true that Spider-Man can become a god? Ying, with a thoughtful expression on his face, the group leader probably wouldn't make a joke about this kind of thing. In other words, in the established future, Spider-Man is likely to become a god in that world by blowing up this bomb. The world's #1 princess. Yes, but that's what Spider-Man did before, or rather didn't join the chat group. The world's #1 princess. Now, I don't know. Maybe there was a bang and there were no bones left. Spider, hey. Spider, I really ate it. Seeing the information in the chat group, Spider's eye was immediately confused. It's such a big bomb, and it emits light similar to infrared rays. Can humans digest this one mouthful? The spider's 8 legs were trembling. He coughed a few times and glanced at Potamus. Hey, Potamus, don't you have a way to stop the bomb? No, even I can't do anything after the bomb counts down. Potamus said without caring, it's just a clone anyway. It doesn't matter if it dies. Spider, a guy who deserves a beating. What should I do? What should I do? Spider, can you ask me a question? If I swallow this thing, what is the probability that I will actually survive? The world's #1 princess, 50%. Spider, is it so high? After hearing what the group leader said, I feel confident. Heihara AI. What the group leader means is that it will either succeed or fail, so be mentally prepared. Spider, isn't that the same as not saying anything? Can it still be said that it succeeded and failed at the same time? Spider's eye gritted his teeth and watched the bomb count down, with the last 30 seconds remaining. Wow, I fought hard to become a human. Spider's eye roared and rushed towards the location of the bomb. The speed was so fast that even the Demon King and Potamus on the side did not react. Ouch! With his mouth wide open, Spider-Z swallowed the bomb in one gulp. The Demon Kings Ariel and Potamus were stunned by Spider-Man's sexy moves. Hey, don't eat everything. The devil's scalp felt numb and he quickly ran to the spider. This kind of energy bomb, even she dared not swallow anything. Spider, are you dying? In fact, the Demon King has another way to force his power beyond the limits of the system and use his powerful strength to offset the power of the bomb. But in that case, the lifespan will be greatly consumed, and you may even only be able to live for another month. In the original novel, the Demon King Ariel defeated the true form of Potamus in this way. It's hopeless, Potamus said with a smile. Shut up, the Demon King compressed and released, and the powerful energy sent Potamus flying in the distance and directly hit the wall behind. Ariel didn't care about Potamus anymore. He was just a clone and could be killed with a raise of his hand. She was worried about Spider-Man now. Noob. Spider-Child hugged his body and kept rolling on the ground with a painful expression on his face, which made the devil's heart feel like a knife. Why are you so stupid? I can still do it. There is no need to swallow the bomb. Time passes by 1 second. Demon King Ariel could only stand aside, watching helplessly as Spider-Man struggled and became weaker and weaker. Damn it, the Demon King gritted his teeth. It would have been impossible for her and Spider-Man to go down to such a deep place in the ruins, let alone accidentally activate such a bomb that could destroy the continent, had it not been for the accidental encounter with Potamus. It's useless. The power of that kind of bomb cannot be swallowed by your spider friend. Even you, I'm afraid there's nothing you can do about it. Potamus dug himself out of the wall, still maintaining a proud smile. Go to hell. Ariel raised her hand, and a burst of coldness burst out from her black eyes, and powerful energy pressed toward Potamus overwhelmingly. Boom! Potamus' whole body suddenly exploded, and scattered mechanical objects scattered all over the ground. Page 67. HMPH, even if Baizhai will die, it won't be up to you. Ariel put her hands down and took a deep breath. She took a few steps back, her eyes still fixed on Spider's eye. If I can absorb part of the bomb's energy, maybe. Ariel thought about her skills. However, Spider-Man's current unstable state may cause his body to suddenly lose balance and explode if there is external interference. Damn it, can I just watch? Okay. Ariel keenly discovered that the chaotic energy around Spider-Man began to stabilize. Moreover, a cocoon begins to form around the spider. This is. The energy tends to be stable, which means that Xiaobai has passed the most dangerous time. She is evolving, Ariel asked uncertainly. However, Ariel's anxious heart was slightly relieved. At this time, in the chat group, Ying, Spider, there has been no water for a while. The world's #1 princess. Maybe she just swallowed the bomb and is evolving, or she was directly killed. She is waiting for us to have a meal. Fluorescent. Group leader, you can speak, but please stop. Chapter 70, Godlike Orochimaru. Irina, group leader, it can't be true, Spider's Eye. Although she has not been in the group for a long time, Spider's Eye has always been the first choice for active atmosphere, and everyone is familiar with her. If a group member dies suddenly, Irina will be a little sad. The world's #1 princess. Don't worry, Irina, Xiaobai will be fine, her profile picture hasn't darkened yet, right? Irina, is that like this? Irina subconsciously looked at Spider's Eye's profile picture, which seemed to be still on. In the God of Destruction realm, Bellies watched the contents of the chat group. I had an agreement with Evil God D, so I wasn't worried about Spider-Man. Even if something happens to Spider's Eye, Evil God D will get her back. This is different from the original novel, where the Evil God D almost treats Spider-Girl as a joke. But now, there is an agreement. Judging from the expression of Evil God D's serious deal with him before, even if Spider-Z fails to become a god in the end, at most his evaluation will be a little lower. What Evil God D cares about now is not Spider's Eye, but her behind Spider's Eye. Therefore, I can only say that the existence of Spider's Eye arouses some interest in D during his free time, and that's all. It sounds like the spider is really angry. Don't worry about Spider's Eye for now, maybe she will pop out on her own before long. The world's #1 princess. At Uchiha Sasuke, what are you doing now? Uchiha Sasuke. Orochimaru and I are on our way to the kingdom of Whirlpool. He hopes to get back his hands sealed in the Shinigami first, and then start resurrecting Uchiha Madara. The world's #1 princess. Uchiha Madara's body is not in the hands of Black Zetsu, are you sure? Uchiha Sasuke. Orochimaru said he would come up with a solution. Naruto world. Led by Orochimaru, Sasuke and his crew came to the vicinity of Konoha, a place similar to the original work. On the towering cliff, Sasuke looked down ahead. In the distance, the Konoha ninja village was brightly lit. It's so peaceful, except it doesn't belong to me. Sasuke's eyes moved slightly to somewhere on the edge of Konoha. That was the place where the Uchiha clan moved after the Ninetales rebellion. There was no trace of life in the Dark Night, which seemed incompatible with the prosperity of Konoha. Will you still feel emotional when you see Konoha again? Orochimaru walked up to Sasuke. The picture of Sasuke's previous kaleidoscope display shows that during the Fourth War, he took Sasuke and his party to stand in this position, and Sasuke looked at Konoha in the same way. Maybe, but these are all insignificant things. Sasuke didn't think much about Konoha anymore. After sighing, Sasuke glanced at his left arm. He hugged his arm and kept rubbing it. Sasuke was speechless. It's almost done. Let go of my hand. Well, Sasuke-kun, eh? Hearing Sasuke's serious words, Xiangling let go of Sasuke's hand. After watching the story of Naruto, Sasuke also vaguely understood why Kasoki was so dependent on him. An unexpected rescue during the Chunin exam. I am not a phosphorus, and I don't want to think about it so much. Just let nature take its course. His primary goal now is to complete the world mission of the chat group and resurrect his parents and clan members. Sasuke, before you choose to transplant Senju Hashirama's cells, I suggest that you transplant Karin's cells to a certain extent. Senju and Uzumaki are distant relatives, and Karin has a very pure bloodline from the Uzumaki clan. This may allow you to reduce the risk of transplanting Hashirama cells later. Okay, I can give Sasuke whatever cells he wants. Xiangling agreed with both hands, not to mention a few cells. Even Sasuke and himself could exchange cells. We'll talk about this later. Sasuke was silent for a while and said, Orochimaru, didn't you say you wanted to get your hands back? Why don't you do it as soon as possible? Not long after Sasuke finished speaking, several figures on the cliff disappeared into the night sky. The rustling sound spread from the mountain cliff to the jungle behind. the ancestral hall of the Uzumaki clan. Orochimaru found the death mask and began to release the corpse seal. Sasuke took out a scroll and threw it on the ground. With a pop sound, the scroll smoke disappeared, and there were 5 more Baizetsu who were pretending to be dead. As for how Baiju came about, to put it simply, it is the white Zetsu collection that Uchiha Madara did not have time to tell Obaido and others before he died. It's private money and the like. So, Sasuke found out from the chat group where Madara Uchiha placed white Zetsu and took 5 unactivated white Zetsus over. Just like in the original story, Orochimaru successfully blocked the bug of the God of Death with his superb skills. The God of Death can only slowly disappear in the innocent and helpless situation. As expected of white Zetsu's body, it is indeed resilient. Orochimaru grinned, raised his hands, and shook them. Sarutobi-sensei, I wonder what your expression will be like when you see me take my hands back. I'm really curious. Orochimaru smiled darkly, and then formed seals with his hands. Slap your right hand hard on the ground. Reincarnation from dirty soil. Waves of ghosts crying and wolves howling, one after another. The first, second, third, and fourth generations of Hokage appeared in front of everyone. However, the next moment, before the 4 Hokages regained consciousness, coffins rose up behind them, and the remaining Hokages, except the 3rd Hokage, were quickly placed inside. Hee, with the strength of the 1st Hokage, I don't dare to let him out casually. Orochimaru grinned. After the coffins were loaded, the 3 coffins were slowly buried in the ground. At this time, the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen had regained consciousness. Long time no see, Sarutobi-sensei, jai tilde. The 3rd Hokage's chaotic consciousness was not fully awakened when he heard a voice that made him think about it day and night. Orochimaru. That's right, it's me. Are you surprised? Orochimaru didn't laugh. He raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Sarutobi-sensei, the death technique that you are so proud of has been cracked by me. In other words, your death was in vain. Orochimaru, you guy. The 3rd Hokage looked ferocious, as if he wanted to attack Orochimaru. This is not possible. Orochimaru formed a seal, interrupting the 3rd Hokage's explanation. But, damn, I can't move my body. The 3rd Hokage glared at Orochimaru. I really regret not killing you earlier. That's really a pity. Orochimaru didn't care at all. His eyes narrowed. There is no regret medicine in the world. What do you want to do to Konoha? The 3rd Hokage, unable to move, could not do anything except spitting fire from his eyes. It's not what I want to do to Konoha, but my disciple Uchiha Sasuke feels that Konoha shouldn't exist. Chapter 71, Disciple, Sasuke. The 3rd Hokage looked in the direction indicated by Orochimaru, and happened to see the members of Team Eagle and Kabuto Yakashi. And standing at the front of these people was a young man who was quite familiar to the 3rd Hokage. Although it has changed a lot from before, the 3rd generation can still vaguely recognize it. Are you Sasuke? Chapter 71, The 3rd Hokage and Sasuke's Plan. I haven't seen you for almost 3 years, the Sandaime Hokage. Looking at this old man with a slightly stooped body, wrinkles on his face, and wearing gray armor, Sasuke had a complicated expression on his face. Sasuke, have you betrayed Konoha? Why are you collaborating with people like Orochimaru? There was a hint of reproach in the 3rd Hokage's voice. Itachi worked so hard to retain the Uchiha bloodline. How could he betray Konoha? I can't pretend that I didn't hear this, Sarutobi-sensei. Orochimaru's sneering voice came over. Sasuke-kun, you came to me yourself. Or does the Sandaime-sama think that there is a better teacher than me in Konoha, and that person is willing to teach Sasuke? You, Orochimaru. Orochimaru's words left the Sandaime speechless. Sasuke's matter is very complicated. In a sense, teaching Sasuke to become stronger is dangerous to Konoha to a certain extent, because sometimes they are also worried that Sasuke will notice a certain truth. Besides, in the ninja world, whether it's as a teacher or their own talent, there are a few people whose abilities are better than Orochimaru's. Sarutobi-sensei, do you need me to tell you what will happen to Sasuke after you die? Orochimaru smiled completely indifferently, you don't think that Danzo will abide by the agreement between you and Uchiha Itachi. Bar. Orochimaru has already made up for it from Sasuke's memory. Soon, when Naruto comes to see Sasuke, there will be a scene in which Sasui assassinates Sasuke, and it is Danzo who issues the order. If Sasuke was still in Konoha after the death of the third Hokage, will the root for Konoha let go of this unstable factor? Threat from Itachi Uchiha. Nonsense, how long can his eyes last until they can consume a Konoha? Besides, he is Uchiha Itachi, not Uchiha Madara. As for revealing secrets to other countries, it is even more ridiculous. Uchiha Itachi and the Uchiha clan, who have always been guarded, how many secrets could they have when Uchiha Itachi defected? After so many years, it has long been changed. Even if the secret passage that allowed one to enter Konoha without being discovered was probably under the surveillance of the third generation, it was just that the third generation was dead at that time. It's no wonder that in Boruto, Sasuke said that going to Orochimaru's place was something he had to do when he returned to the past. It wasn't just about studying, it was about escaping from Danzo, although Sasuke didn't know about it at that time. Hearing Orochimaru's words, the third Hokage did not refute. Apparently, he also thought of his old friend's behavior, and that he might indeed do something to Uchiha Sasuke after his death. Sasuke, you. The third Hokage, just because I'm standing here means that I know all the truth. Uchiha Sasuke's voice was very calm. Hey, the third Hokage sighed, I'm sorry about Itachi. If you can't solve the problem, just get rid of the person who raised the problem. Isn't it always the approach of your senior management in Konoha? What's the use of talking about it now? Sasuke didn't have much emotion when the third generation mentioned Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke, I always wanted to stop. That's enough, Hiruzen Sarutobi. His eyes turned into kaleidoscopes, and Sasuke Uchiha interrupted the third Hokage with a loud shout. Same eyes as Itachi. Seeing Sasuke surpassing the three Magatama eyes, the expression of the third Hokage suddenly changed. The Sandaime, after the Ninetales rebellion, pushed Uchiha to the edge. I don't believe it. You have never thought about the consequences of such an approach. Uchiha has endured for 8 years, and your senior officials have never given any advice, an explanation. 24-hour, non-stop surveillance, but no evidence can be found. In this case, there is no clarification. What do you want the rest of Konoha to think? What do the people of Konoha think? Sasuke's voice softened when he said this. He thought of something and laughed. However, it's not like you haven't done something similar before. For example, the identity of Naruto's nine-tailed Jinchuriki is known to everyone, and the identity of the fourth Hokage's son has not been exposed at all. Sasuke, you. The third Hokage's expression gradually turned horrified. How do you know Naruto's identity? Hee, what a pity. The third generation, I have always been the one to sort out the information for Sasuke-kun. Baimao, who pushed up his glasses, stood up and looked at the third Hokage. Were you Kabuto at that time? Kakashi told him Kabuto's identity during the Chunin exam, but he was not sure whether he was Orochimaru's spy. The third Hokage took a deep breath, no longer caring about other things, and turned his gaze to Sasuke. Is there really no room for negotiation? What are you going to do to Konoha? Sandaime, you said Itachi's actions were for peace, right? Yes, once Uchiha and Konoha go to war, Konoha is likely to. The third generation has not finished his words. F4 of you, who are over 200 years old in total, tricked a 13-year-old boy into exterminating his clan. Does it mean that Uchiha has to consider the consequences of going to war with Konoha? But you, the top brass of Konoha, don't have to consider the price of destroying Uchiha and the consequences of being invaded by other countries. No, you have thought about it, so you want to get the maximum benefit at the minimum cost. You don't have to bear the dirty water, and you have righteousness. It can even deter other families. Haha, this is really a great will of fire. Sasuke's voice gradually turned cold, so Konoha has hindered the peace of the ninja world. Can I destroy this stumbling block? After all, for the sake of peace, Konoha should not exist. Sasuke, you are too radical. I did not agree with Danzo's behavior at the beginning. It was. Yes, I didn't agree, but I didn't reject it either, right? Uchiha Sasuke said coldly. From Konoha's point of view, destroying a hostile ethnic group at the minimum cost and still gaining a wave of benefits is no problem. I don't even think there is any problem. But what you did makes me feel sick. However, there is nothing to say. Your wife died in the hands of the masked man in the Nine Tails Rebellion. You think it was Uchiha who did it, so it is nothing to eliminate Uchiha. It is a normal thing. Personal sentiments, third generation Sama, you probably still want to destroy Uchiha, right? You don't have to answer me. What happened to Kyuubi was not done by our Konoha Uchiha. I will also investigate who did it, but there is no need to tell you. Sasuke suddenly laughed and said, right or wrong is no longer important to me. I am telling you this just to do one thing. Let all the executioners who killed the Uchiha clan pay the price. Whether it's ANBU or Root, those who caused the Uchiha clan's killings will all pay for the Uchiha clan's death. The executioner of killing them will be you, the heir to the will of fire, and the second Hokage who believes that Uchiha is inherently evil. Sasuke, you can't do this. The third Hokage was worried. What now? As long as you are allowed to destroy the Uchiha, I can't kill those guys. Sasuke's face showed a cold expression. I have restrained myself by not letting Sarutobi and Shimura wipe out the clan. My actions are completely incomparable to yours in instigating the son of the Uchiha clan leader to rebel against his own clan and destroy his own clan. How about I change the conditions? Sasuke thought of something and sneered, I can let them go, but how about letting you kill the Sarutobi clan with your own hands? By the way, including your grandson named Konohamaru, kill them too. Die. Sasuke. What? You didn't spare any old, young, women, or children. Isn't this what you asked Itachi to do to Uchiha? No longer paying attention to the hoarse roar of the third Hokage, Sasuke glanced at Orochimaru indicatively. Orochimaru nodded. Then a coffin appeared behind the third Hokage, and he was slowly absorbed into it. After cleaning up the four shadows reincarnated in the dirty soil, Orochimaru came to Sasuke's side. Sasuke-kun, do you really plan to exterminate Sarutobi-sensei? Sasuke side have seen it. If they are not hindered, you don't need to worry about them. However, those who attack the Uchiha clan must not be let go. In the memory of the third Hokage, there should be that time the list of people who will take action is correct. That's it, no problem. I'll ask Kabuto to help me sort it out. But will the killing of them be carried out by the third Hokage and the second Hokage? Orochimaru asked. Yes, there is no room for negotiation on this matter, but Orochimaru, the second Hokage, should be more careful. He can cancel the reincarnation of the dirty land. No problem, Sasuke-kun, don't worry, I won't be as careless as Kabuto. Orochimaru said, and could only glance at the confused Yakushi Kabuto with an indescribable look. After doing these things, Sasuke put his consciousness into the chat group. A large full-body selfie appeared on the public screen. That's a girl. Her long, pure white hair was lightly covered by a felt hat, and her skin could be broken by a blow. Against the backdrop of a white robe, she faintly exuded a holy luster. Chapter 72 by Jai and the Saiyan Prince. In the chat group, Spider Zai's tone became a bit resentful after he posted a selfie. Spider Z, Master, please help me find out if there is anything wrong with my body. Spider-Man, who turned into a humanoid appearance, looked confused. Where are my skills? Where's my gorgeous health bar? Where's my panel that's comparable to Demon King? No more, nothing is gone, just turn it into a blank slate. Page 69. Woohoo, how are you going to mess around in the future? Can I just follow the Demon King Ariel and eat soft food? Woohoo, little spider doesn't want it. The #1 princess in the world. At Spider's Eye, don't worry, your life level and soul level exceed the limit of the system, so in a sense, the system cannot act on you. Spider, please be more specific, the group leader, I'm so panicked. The #1 princess in the world. Congratulations to Zio Baijai, You have shed your spider appearance and become a god, becoming a being at the same level as the dragon god Q Lai. However, you are still far inferior to him now. Spider AA. Becoming a god, so she succeeded. But why is it like drinking some cleaning potion in a game? Spider, but I can't use my skills, why? Not to mention his skills, he was out of breath even after taking 2 steps. Even when he said he was recovering from a serious illness, some people believed him. The world's #1 princess. Before you become a god, the abilities you use are equivalent to being copied by the system in advance. You just use them, not that you have learned them. The #1 princess in the world. At Spider's Eye, you have uploaded your skills to the chat group, but it didn't work right. Spider, yes. She had the idea of uploading skills multiple times, but the feedback information was displayed each time. The skill is incomplete and cannot be uploaded. The world's #1 princess. That's because the skills of the system templates are not considered abilities that you know. You just use them through the system. You have not mastered them, so you cannot upload them. Do you understand what I am saying? After the group leader explained it, Spider's Eye finally understood the reason why he couldn't use magic. It turns out that she only knows what is happening, but does not know why. Zijidao, I probably understand. What's going on with my body, sir? The world's #1 princess. As your life level and soul advance at the same time, there will be a cert adaptation stage. It depends on you. The world's #1 princess. It won't take too long, so don't worry. Spider's Eye, that's good. Thank you, the group leader, for clarifying my doubts. The world's #1 princess. There's no need for this. Rather than thanking you, you'd better master the power as soon as possible. I don't know when Evil God D will launch a test on you. Spider's Eye, Evil God D. That group leader is so awesome. I always feel like there's something wrong with my memory, and there's something wrong with it. Destroying the God realm, Bailey's suddenly realized when she saw Spider's Eye's words on the public screen. It seems that he has noticed something, but is it because he is not sure yet? The world's #1 princess. When you fully master your own power, you will understand everything. Don't worry, Bai Zhai. Spider, okay. With doubts, Spider-Man and Demon King Ariel left the ruins. Not long after Spider-Man left, a black-haired girl appeared at the bottom of the ruins. Just a little guidance, I didn't expect the little spider to swallow that thing. Should I say it's random? Foolish people are lucky. Not only did Spider-Man swallow the bomb, he actually held on and successfully escaped the restrictions of the system. In fact, according to her idea, it was the Demon King and Spider-Man who divided the power of the bomb at the same time. But it doesn't matter. Evil God D's figure gradually became transparent. We will wait for you to fully recover for the subsequent test. Your final opponent is not simple, little spider. He will kill you to save his planet. After he finished speaking, there was no one left in the ruins. Outside the ruins, Spider's Eye and his party were heading to the demon camp. In other words, you have become a god, like Q Lai. Demon King Ariel looked at Spider's Eye up and down, a little unbelievable. Think about yourself, and then think about Potamas, who tried almost every method in order to become a god, and accidentally synthesized the high-end combat power of the entire planet. How long has it been since this little spider was born? You didn't lie to me. Demon King Ariel was worried that she heard wrongly and asked again. That's what the group leader said. I mentioned to you before, the one who can arm wrestle with Evil God D. Bai Zhai spread his hands and said helplessly, "It will take some time for me to fully recover my strength. Without the assistance of the system, I'm afraid I have to relearn magic to release it. It's so annoying. I can help you with magic issues. Although I haven't crossed the system's limitations, I've lived for so many years and I'm still quite aware of these things." Demon King Ariel said. "Thank you, Ariel," Bai Zhai said gratefully. "You're welcome. More than this, I care about what you said about your wish before. Is it true?" Not long ago, Bai Zhai mentioned the Dragon Balls that could grant any wish. Well, it's true, but I need to fully learn it before I can upload the skill to the chat group in exchange for points. Bai Zhai also didn't understand why there was such a setting. Of course, Bai Zhai paid more attention to the points. he exchanged for Dragon Balls, then the rules for exchanging points. On what basis is it calculated? The points you can redeem for Dragon Balls are only 5,000, which can't be said to be small. I can only say that it's incomprehensible. Judging from 5,000 points, his world is similar to Uchiha Madara's world. After excluding evil god D, does it only count the boundaries of this planet? Bai Zhai didn't understand, but he didn't ask in the group. She wants to help Ariel and save her mother, the angel Shariel. That is, the gods who were banned at the bottom and existed as system elves were the gods of the goddess cult. Spider-Man is thinking about how to raise points to exchange for Dragon Balls. On the other side, in the Dragon Ball world, Universe 10 destroys the world of gods. The group members have been very quiet recently. They either have things to do or rarely talk. Bellies yawned, feeling quite speechless. Because after the transformation, he ate more. It seems that he has completely transformed into a Saiyan. After becoming a god, I eat very little, and I don't even have to eat. Why do I want to eat after I transform, even if I don't eat? Pick up a spiritual tree, fruit next to you, and put it in your mouth. Well, it feels a bit astringent, so it's okay as a snack. When it comes to eating and Saiyans, Bellies thinks of the 7th universe. I don't know how Vegeta and Nappa are doing. I'm really curious. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Bellies' mind. Ding, the girl in the painting insists on being a boy and joins the chat group. Ding, Saiyan Prince joined the chat group. Chapter 73, new people join the group and the plot changes. Talking about Cao Cao is here. Looking at the new members in the chat group, Bellies slowly put a question mark on her forehead. Saiyan Prince. Vegeta. No, I just said that there is no need to drag him over, okay. Bellies looked at the introduction position, first looking at the information of another group member. From the time travel drama Knights and Magic. It tells the story of a high-end programmer and mecha model enthusiast who was sent to a different world by a large truck that was driving his performance while crossing the road at night. The protagonist, whose gender is Hideyoshi Ernest Echeverria. In a different world with magic and mechas, the protagonist successfully develops an exclusive mecha through programming, opening up the legend of Feng Yashin. To put it simply, it is a Gundam series. Bellies closed the profile of the group member who paints women and insists on talking about men. With a trembling hand, he clicked on the Saiyan Prince's portrait. The Saiyan Prince, a member of the group, comes from the same world as the group leader. The eye-catching characters shocked Bailey speechless. I have a headache, how could it be Vegeta? She really doesn't want anyone in Dragon Ball world to join the group. At least not until she has the ability to arm wrestle with Quan Wang. The god of destruction cannot interfere with the operations of other universes, nor can he steal materials from other universes. This is the consensus of all gods of destruction and angels. This is why, the last time Bellies went to the 7th universe, she didn't take fairy beans with her, because that was not allowed. Once discovered by an angel, the consequences would be serious. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't get discovered. However, how could Bailey's be sure that she would be in trouble under the lamp, in the hands of an angel? How about kicking me out? A wonderful idea suddenly came to mind. Page 70. The 10th universe is now suspected to be outside the jurisdiction of the Quan Wang universe, but it is still within the jurisdiction of the Quan Wang universe in name. If Vegeta joins the group, some kind of parallel universe will accidentally be created. Then the king or the great priest will most likely investigate. Don't be fooled by the easygoing nature of the original novel. In reality, a parallel universe exists. If the two people in the palace of the Omni-King take it seriously, even the god of destruction might be wiped out. In fact, Bellies went to Universe 6 and 7 to collect Dragon Balls. It was also an act that could create a parallel world, but with the consent of the great priest at that time, Bellies didn't think much about it. When she came back, Bellies even made a point of taking out the relics of the former Kaijin, Kavas the box containing the space-time ring. She was relieved when she found that there were not one or two more time and space rings. After staring at the Saiyan Prince's avatar for a long time, Bellies finally did not kick Vegeta out. Forget it, Kajuga, why are you still kicking? I am not the kind of person who can pay more for the blood of my close relatives. Submerge your awareness into the chat group. Uchiha Madara is educating newcomers about the rules of the science chat group. Then, Cyan Prince, chat group, what is this? What are you ants mumbling in my head? The woman in the painting insists on the man. Excuse me, is this a big boss in which world? As a time travel heroine and a magic programmer, Al quickly sorted out useful information in his mind. Those who can be so crazy are usually capable people. Perhaps, Uchiha Madara, at Saiyajin Prince, newcomers, please be careful with your words. There are many powerful people from different worlds in the group. Don't offend others with your words. Except for Asakura Yi-King, who was deliberately led by him to challenge him before. It was the first time for Uchiha Madara to see such an arrogant newcomer. Dragon Ball World, Cyan Prince. It seems that he may be a pampered guy. However, he, Uchiha Madara, is not the Wuxia Ammon back then. He already understands his responsibilities and will not get angry casually. Even if there is a tic-tac-toe on the forehead, on the surface, he will say hello me, hello everyone. The world's #1 princess. At Saiyajin Prince, Vegeta, all the information in the chat group has been transmitted to your minds. Please check it carefully. The world's #1 princess. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me. I am the group leader, Bellies, and don't provoke other group members casually. This is a very dangerous move. Cyan Prince, how do you know my name? Vegeta, who was taking a spaceship to the Earth and was still sleeping, was directly pulled into the group by default because he did not answer the invitation message of the chat group. At this time, his vague consciousness gradually woke up from his deep sleep. Outside the window, the spaceship is still seen flowing through the universe, and it seems that it has not reached its destination yet. Thoughts appeared in Vegeta's mind. Chat group. You can actually transfer information to my memory without any awareness. Even Frieza probably can't do it, right? Is it the high technology of which planet? Vegeta looked at the chat group again. At this time, after he spoke, there was another piece of information. Lord, what kind of chat group boss is this? As long as I join the chat group, I can know my past and future. Is it really that amazing? Could this be a trick on me? Vegeta quickly scanned the information in his mind. Cyan Prince, what kind of group leader, right? Are you the most powerful person in the group? The world's #1 princess. It's okay, a little better than you. Cyan Prince, do you know who I am? Do you dare to say you are better than me? I am the prince of the strongest fighting nation in the universe. The #1 princess in the world. Is that the Cyan who was exterminated and only had 2 or 3 big cats and kittens left, the polished commander prince? Yes, I know. Vegeta, who was still flying in the universe, was so angry that he almost blew up his spaceship. Cyan Prince, you are not allowed to insult the dignity of the Saiyans. Wait, what did you mean by genocide just now? Vegeta suddenly reacted. Wasn't their planet Vegeta destroyed by a meteorite impact? Frieza told him so. The world's #1 princess. Literally, after entering the chat group, I can know a little about your past and future, so it's not surprising that I know the truth about the genocide of the Saiyans, right? Cyan Prince, who is it, who is it? Vegeta held back his anger and gritted his teeth. The #1 princess in the world, I advise you to be careful. There is Frieza's listening device in your detector. Do you understand what I'm saying? Who do you think is the one who can wipe out the Saiyans? Seeing the information on the chat group's public screen, Vegeta's eyes became bloodshot. Then, as if thinking of something, he put his hand on his eye socket and squeezed the detector he was wearing. Boom! There was a slight explosion, and the detector was reduced to pieces. Vegeta showed a fierce look on his face and said fiercely, Frieza, for all these years, you have actually treated me like a monkey, and yet I still try my best to help you conquer the planet. Chapter 74, Bellies' Thoughts. The 10th Universe, Destroying the Divine World. Observe whether parallel worlds appear. Hearing Bailey's purpose, a look of confusion appeared on Kessie's face. That's right, Bellies nodded. Kessie, Do you still remember which universe I come from? Universe 7. Kessie didn't quite understand why Bellies mentioned this. I want to interfere with the 7th universe, but I am worried that parallel worlds will appear. Bailey's words made Kessie silent for a while. Are you sure? The god of destruction interferes with other universes, and it will be very difficult for the king and the high priest to explain. Moreover, if the god of destruction's law enters other universes, it will be discovered by angels as soon as possible. To be honest, Kessie really hoped that Bellies would give up this idea. I still have a relative in the 7th universe, so I hope you can help me observe the frequency of the universe. That's it, Kessie sighed. Yes, you have not been the god of destruction for a long time. It is normal to have relatives around. However, if you want to transfer the planet to the 10th universe, I'm afraid it won't work. I know the rules, and I will not do such a foolish thing before I have the strength to negotiate. Planets in different universes cannot be traded. This is the rule set by the universe under the Quanwang system to avoid unfair competition. In the original novel, the competition between the 6th and 7th universes successfully attracted the king of all, which might have been due to putting the planet on the trading scale. Beerus and Xiangpa, do you know that planets cannot be used as bargaining chips? There is also a question mark. Maybe I knew it once, but forgot about it as time went by. After all, which god of destruction cares whether a planet can be traded? Anyway, if something goes too far, the angel next to him will come out to stop it, so whatever. So, there was the 6th and 7th universe martial arts competition. The angels of the 6th and 7th universes did not remind themselves of the god of destruction in the universe. It was because of their own reasons that they wanted to wait until after the game, or because Quan Wang said something to the angel while watching the game, which caused the angel not to mention it. Just don't know. In short, if you want to get planets from other universes, you need the approval of the whole king. Lord Bellies, I shouldn't have said more, but it concerns your relatives, and I still want to say something. Kessie looked at Bellies, was silent for a long time, and said, if you can, try not to interfere, regardless of whether a parallel universe will appear. Because once your behavior is discovered, it will have serious consequences. Although, with my face, the angels of the 7th universe will not hold the 10th universe responsible. But regarding this matter, as an angel, I will report it to the god of destruction, which is inevitable. Once this happens, the planet and even your relatives will most likely be wiped out by the god of destruction of the 7th universe. After listening to Kessie's explanation, Bellies fell silent. After a long time, she nodded. I know I'll pay attention. Seeing this, Kessie breathed a sigh of relief. Then, I will leave first. If there is a trend of parallel universes, I will tell you through the contract. It is up to you to decide whether to stop or not. I will always stand with you, Lady Bellies. After Kessie left, Bellies thought about what to do next. Page 71. Vegeta definitely can't be kicked out. Bellies is still not sure whether to help him next. Through the chat group, she can avoid being discovered by the angel. But if she steps into the 7th universe, her aura of the god of destruction, which is incompatible with the 7th universe, will definitely be noticed by the angel Weiss. Bellies is not sure where the timeline of Universe 7 will develop, but there is a high probability that Vegeta will come to Earth, or in the named chapter. That is, if nothing else. Vegeta will most likely die at the hands of Frieza. This is something Bellies doesn't want to see, even if she can be resurrected later. But this is a very uncertain factor. What if he doesn't survive? In Hell, Vegeta's memory will definitely be wiped away based on his actions over the years. Once the memory of the soul is washed away, not even the Dragon Balls can restore it. Therefore, it is speculated that he is likely to take action on Namek. It was only then that Bellies specifically asked Kessie to confirm something. It's so troublesome. Because of the unstable mood, the energy spreads to the surroundings wantonly. The result is unstable. Click. The surface of the destruction god realm split into two halves from the middle. The entire god of destruction realm is filled with extremely powerful energy. Even if Frieza appears here, he will be torn to pieces by the strong wind formed by the energy in the next second. As for Kessie, why is it okay and she can still talk to Bellies casually? That was an angel, a being that Bellies couldn't defeat even if she tried her best. A mere bit of energy released unintentionally might not be able to bend even Kessie's long braid. Forget it, let's stabilize our energy first. Bellies sat cross-legged and meditated. Time is passing by minute. 2 days later. The terrifying energy dispersed in the God of Destruction realm has become extremely small. Bellies stood up and murmured. It took a lot of time. After maintaining her transformation for such a long time, she was now barely able to control her own energy. But it's still easy to lose control. After dusting herself off, Bellies stood up. I don't know how the group is doing. Vegeta now is not a peaceful person. Hope nothing serious happens. At this time in the chat group, Vegeta, Uchiha Madara, get out of here. What's the point of playing dirty tricks? Uchiha Madara, as long as I win, who cares about the process? What matters is the result. Vegeta, you pink eye, come again. The game just now doesn't count. Vegeta was really angry and scolded several people in the group with his pink eye words. Uchiha Madara, haha, I can't hear it. Sasuke Uchiha. Kurapika. Vegeta, damn it, I'm not careless. An ant like you can't beat me at all. Even so, I will win 2-1. Uchiha Madara, I only saw the last game, the front, that was my strategy. Who knew you had such a brain problem? For someone who curses people as bastards, the Bear Saiyan Prince. Uchiha Madara is not weak at all. What are you afraid of? You can cross the world and follow the chat group to come and hit me. The world's #1 princess. What happened? You guys are so lively. A group leader who came online silently looked at the quarrel in full swing in the chat group and was quite curious. Spider, Master, you missed the wonderful scene. Spider Z described what happened during this period to the group leader. Then, in the God of Destruction realm, Bellies looked at the public screen of the chat group. Suddenly, I felt that the fruit of the spiritual tree in my hand no longer smelled good. Vegeta was bored in the spaceship and found Uchiha Madara for a duel in the arena. After Vegeta won twice, he laughed wildly and got carried away. He accepted Uchiha Madara's third challenge without hesitation, but then Uchiha found a flaw and counterattacked. This is really surprising. Bellies was speechless. From Spider-Man's words, Bellies roughly guessed the current timeline of the 7th universe. Vegeta and Nappa are on their way to Earth. In other words, Vegeta has 18,000 combat power at this time. 18,000 combat power, not 1,800 combat power. I have the advantage, how can I be counterattacked? Do you know how to play? Chapter 75, The Battle Between Bellies and Vegeta. Vegeta's combat power is 18,000. Uchiha Madara only has a few hundred combat power. How did this guy win? Listening to Spider-Man's story, Bellies also roughly understood the ins and outs of the matter. Relying on his own strength, Vegeta defeated Uchiha Madara with one hand after winning once. However, Uchiha Madara still did not win. The complete Susanoo Kagito was completely destroyed by an energy bomb from Vegeta. Then, Vegeta became even more arrogant, showing an extremely standard and extremely confident gesture. Yes, it's the same gesture as WoW, get down on Vegeta. Then he said, I don't use my hands. If you can make me step back 10 meters, I lose. Thus, the third arena battle between Uchiha Madara and Vegeta began. Uchiha Madara was extremely ungrateful and rushed behind Vegeta as fast as he could. Vegeta, who was careless, did not dodge. Uchiha Madara. How fast does a turtle crawl? Use dodge. Then it becomes a tragedy tower. Uchiha Madara uses the Rinnegan to extract the soul. I can't beat you, but I can take your soul out of the main office. Vegeta can't sense chi yet, and it doesn't have much influence on the soul itself. Without checking, the soul was directly extracted from the human world. Vegeta, who had lost his body and had only his soul left, had no power to resist, and was killed by Uchiha Madara's yin-yang black rod. Yeah, well, how should I put it? Uchiha Madara can't think of all kinds of coincidences. Warriors in the Dragon Ball world are usually very flawed. Chi can be very strong, but in terms of life level and soul level, it is shockingly low. Once you lose your body, you will not even be able to fight against the five scum. For example, the final battle between Spider-Man and Kyulai. Are both sides stronger than Vegeta now? Not at all, the gap is still huge. But during the battle between the two, even if they were beaten into particles, they could still recover and be alive and kicking. In addition, Aizen, who evolved from Bengyoku, Uchiha Madara from the Six Paths, and a Sakura Yi-King who became the Shaman King all have similar near-immortal abilities. Rather than like the Dragon Ball world, Son Goku and Vegeta. Purely in terms of chi, the lumbar disc is herniated. Super Sailor Sun Wukong actually has some kind of viral heart disease. For things like heart disease, wouldn't it be better to just dig out the bad heart and wait a while for a new one to grow in its place? But do you still need to take medicine? Under various coincidences, it is not unreasonable for Uchiha Madara to defeat Vegeta. The current Vegeta can't even feel chi. Page 72. This kind of inability to sense danger is undoubtedly very fatal sometimes. To be honest, Vegeta's strength really shocked everyone. The combat power of 18,000 is far more terrifying than any god in the group. However, Uchiha Madara takes the lead. Many big bosses in the group have thought about how to deal with Vegeta. To put it simply, Vegeta has high attack and low defense, especially in terms of soul. Also, if you lose the protection of something called chi, your body's strength does not seem to be very good. Vegeta, damn it was just an accident. Vegeta was still defending himself. Damn it, he could accept it if he was defeated head-on, but this was completely underhanded and a method he had never seen before. It's just as disgusting as the Jinyu Force, a group of green-skinned people with a combat power of only 12,000 people who can stop time. The world's #1 princess. At Vegeta, if you feel unhappy, how about a fight with me? Vegeta, okay, I happen to be very angry, right? Group leader, don't regret it if you are embarrassed. Uchiha Madara, this administrator, is not very powerful. Even if the leader of the group is stronger, according to Vegeta's estimation, he can only beat Uchiha Madara with one hand. A combat power of 10,000 is considered high. If he hadn't been lax and allowed Madara Uchiha to use dirty tricks at close range, he could have solved it with just a piece of energy. The Susanoo with the power of God is not just a matter of one move. It can be broken by a blow. Bellies, who was destroying the God realm, twitched her lips when she saw Vegeta's speech. The world's #1 princess. Then look forward to it, and don't say I bully you then. Vegeta, what did you learn from Frieza? How did I teach you? What about your low profile? Especially in a strange environment, when you don't know the situation, you should keep a low profile and shoot first. Ding, Vegeta invites you to enter the arena. Bellies. Vegeta, are you so trembling and can't wait for the whipping of love? Ding, the leader of the group, the #1 princess in the world, accepts the challenge. The arena event will be broadcast live, so please tune in. The information in the chat group shocked many members in the group, especially the big bosses. Although there are several people who have thought of how to defeat Vegeta, in fact, they have never done it, and they don't know whether it will work. They are facing an existence that can kill them instantly. Even if it has various flaws, it is still very scary, isn't it? Irina, I wonder if the battle between the group leader and Vegeta will be fierce. Heihara AI, well, maybe it's like watching a blockbuster movie. Vegeta casually wiped out the Susanoo Gamu, who was thousands of meters above Madara Uchiha. This shocking scene indeed left a big place in everyone's hearts. Although Uchiha Madara was moved back to the first round in the end, everyone always felt that Uchiha Madara was not victorious. Moreover, they vaguely felt that the group leader was fighting Vegeta. Isn't it the group leader who is looking for a place for his own administrators? Except for the regular members, some lurking villains remained silent. But the pupils in their eyes gathered together, indicating that they were quite interested in the duel between the two sides. In the arena, Bellies and Vegeta appeared on an unknown planet. HMPH, I thought who the leader of the group was, but but it turned out to be a young bean sprout girl. Vegeta sneered and turned on the taunting mode. Bellies looked about 15 or 16 years old, and Vegeta had a rather disdainful look on his face. On his forehead, which was vaguely covered by snow-white hair, his eyebrows were slightly raised. Good guy Vegeta, full-level taunt. Am I bothering you with A? I haven't beaten you in so many years. Why do you want to go to the house to reveal your tiles? Spider A, Master, why did your hairstyle change? Did you go out for styling? In the chat group, Spider's Eye always pays attention to some strange things. Bellies' hair is no longer long and straight, but has a snow-white, spiky head that hangs down her waist. The distribution of her hair also looks sharp and angular. I didn't take a closer look before, but it seems that the avatar of the group leader in the chat group has also changed a lot, especially in terms of hairstyle. Uchiha Madara. It's true that the change has been great. At Chinese letter, NUMBERONEPRINCESS, are you transforming? After Spider-Man mentioned this, Uchiha Madara, who had been beaten violently by the group leader with blonde hair and a similar posture, also remembered something. The world's #1 princess. Absolutely, I'm practicing now. The change in my hairstyle is because I can't control my strength, so. Bellies hasn't finished speaking yet. Boom! A loud noise came from the live video screen, and the entire screen was enveloped in golden light. Ding, Vegeta is dead. The leader of the group, the #1 princess in the world, won the arena. The world's #1 princess. Well, just like this, the planet will be blown up if you're not careful. Uchiha Madara. Spider. Other people. A few seconds later, a message appeared again in the chat group, and the source of the message was Vegeta. Vegeta, group leader, if you don't respect martial ethics, who will blow up the planet at the beginning. The world's #1 princess. I'm sorry, I didn't expect you to be so weak that you can't even withstand the impact of a planet explosion. Do you want to do it again? I will be careful this time. Vegeta. Looking at the live broadcast that had not been turned off, Vegeta gritted his teeth. Exploding the planet doesn't matter who says the same thing. Don't you think this behavior is shameful? Vegeta, one more round, the one just now doesn't count. Live streaming. The energy of the planet's explosion has dissipated. Belly stood quietly in the universe, with no dust on her clothes or hair, let alone any injuries. Vegeta. There's no such thing as Vegeta. Chapter 76, Vegeta fell, Vegeta came up again. The live broadcast screen was temporarily turned off, and Bellies' consciousness also exited the arena. The world's #1 princess. What about Vegeta? I can get rid of you in one go, so don't be so arrogant. Vegeta. In the spaceship, Vegeta's face was as dark as ink. Don't think that he doesn't know that the energy is out of control and leaking to the planet at his feet, causing the planet to explode. Did you kill me? I was involved in the explosion of the planet and died. Vegeta suppressed the anger in his heart at being played. After all, being able to blow up a planet with energy means his strength is over 10,000, which is worthy of Vegeta's attention. Vegeta, don't make it sound like you defeated me. Are you really capable of defeating me with a real weapon? Ding, Vegeta challenges the group leader Bellies again. The world's #1 princess. At Vegeta, you still want to fight. It's not like you have a tendency to flirt, right? If you lose again, you won't even have any face. Vegeta, I am a noble Saiyan prince, not someone who cannot afford to lose. The world's #1 princess. I always feel like I've heard such words before. Uchiha Madara. That's right, that's what I said. I was young and ignorant at the time. The leader of the group, the world's #1 princess, accepts Vegeta's challenge. The arena showdown will be broadcast live. Bellies and Vegeta appeared again on an unknown planet. The two faced each other from a distance. At this time, Vegeta did not dare to be careless. Page 73. If he loses twice in a row and is still killed instantly, it will be embarrassing for Dafa. Vegeta instantly raised his energy to a maximum of 18,000. Call out. The figure disappears. He attacked Bailey's at extremely fast speeds. You were afraid that I would blow up the planet, so you took the lead. Bellies took a step back to avoid Vegeta's oncoming attack. Vegeta's strong energy burst out from his fists. A rock tens of meters high behind Bellies was hit to pieces with a bang. Ah-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. The intensive fists almost never paused, and hundreds of punches were thrown out in 1 second. However, Bellies just stood there. With one foot as the center of the circle, you can easily avoid it by walking. Damn it, why can't I hit him? For nearly 5 minutes, Vegeta punched frequently, feeling like he couldn't hold on any longer. Humph, that's the case. Vegeta stopped pumping his fists and quickly put his hands in front of him. A sharp shout. Super Afterburner. The palm emits hot golden light and terrifying energy, destroying everything in front of it. A straight energy wave stretched hundreds of kilometers away. Ha-hoo-hoo-hoo. How about it? Vegeta gasped for air and looked at where Bellies stood. That was the area that had just been taken care of by the Super Afterburner. It's okay if you blow your hair. Just standing on the ground like scorched earth. Bellies was still wearing the clothes of the god of destruction, and her long hair hanging around her waist was slightly blown. How is it possible? Vegeta subconsciously retreated, his cold expression no longer there, his mouth opened wide, with a look of disbelief on his face. It's hateful. Jumping into the sky with all his strength, Vegeta once again concentrated the energy bombs with his hands, and then kept hitting the place where Bellies was standing. Countless air bombs fell one after another at lightning speed. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. The ground was blown up with smoke and dust, and the entire surface was shaking violently as if a magnitude 10 earthquake had occurred. The process lasted more than 10 minutes. In the chat group, the group members watching the live broadcast saw it more clearly than Vegeta. Filter out the dust that obscures your vision and see Bellies in the smoke. Aizen Sasuke, what a powerful dimension this is. Makang Yi King. Indeed, I can't even think about what the group leader did. Ying, I blocked it with my body alone, without even a little damage. It's not on the same level at all. Uchiha Madara, what are you talking about? Compared to the above 3 bosses, Uchiha Madara is a bit younger after all, not only in age, but also in experience. Although I could vaguely detect something, I still felt like I couldn't grasp the point. Ying, at Uchiha Madara, to put it simply, it is the group leader and Vegeta. The gap in life levels between the two parties is too big. Ying, even if the stronger side does nothing, the life aura emitted by the dimensional difference is enough to wipe out all the powers below that dimension, including some tricky curses, viruses, etc., without any impact. In other words, no attack can break through the defense. Aizen Sasuke, although that is said, this is not certain. Some creatures whose life levels are not high can actually exert power far beyond their own life level to the extent that they can make up for this gap. Can cause defense breach. A Sakura Leaf King, what Aizen said makes sense. For example, if I become the Shaman King in the future, I will be almost at the level of the current planet's gods. A Sakura Leaf King. My life level at that time was definitely higher than Vegeta's now, but he could still cause harm to my body and even destroy it. Spider, it's so profound, I can't understand it at all. Ying, at Spider's Eye, your current life level is higher than that of ordinary people. If your strength is fully restored, even if your body is destroyed, it can be repaired easily. Spider, I was chopped off a spider leg and used it for barbecue. Can it grow back the next day? Ying, yes. Hearing Spider's Eye's words, Ying almost couldn't hold back and didn't even know how to answer. Sure enough, even after evolving, Spider's brain circuit is still somewhat different from that of normal people. Ying, keep watching. I'm not sure there will be more surprises. Ying held it in for a long time before saying this, and her eyes returned to the live broadcast again. At this time, after a period of bombardment, Vegeta in the sky was breathing heavily, his hands hanging down, and his face was a little pale. I won't be unscathed this time. He kept looking at the explosion area, which was filled with smoke, and had a crater of hundreds of meters blown out. What do you mean by unscathed? Am I like this now? There was a sound in the distance, and the smoke in the huge pit was blown away by a strong wind. No, this is impossible. Vegeta looked extremely horrified. He clearly saw through the smoke that Belly's face was hit by air bombs more than once or twice. How could this not hurt? It's completely unscientific. Because you are too weak, is it okay for me to say this? Bellies looked at Vegeta with a calm voice. Bellies was still dressed as the god of destruction, and her hair was still slightly covered with smoke from the explosion, but even though it was filled with smoke. The snow-white hair was blowing in the wind, but it still looked spotless, without any signs of burning. The gap in life levels can even make the air bombs used by Vegeta completely ineffective. Even a single hair has far more dimensions than the combined energy of the air bombs released by Vegeta. In other words, Vegeta was so powerful that he couldn't even damage her hair. Uchiha Madara. Please just think about it, and you know it's impossible. The two hairs on his hands were deliberately removed to give Uchiha Madara some face. Otherwise, Uchiha Madara's hundreds of combat power could make her pay such a serious price for two hairs. Chapter 77 Fierce Battle. I am a noble fighting nation, the Prince of the Saiyans, and you actually said that I am too weak. Inexcusable, absolutely inexcusable. Maintaining the pride of the Saiyans is the only persistence of his down-and-out royal family. Even Frieza cannot tarnish the dignity of the Saiyans. Vegeta, is it really that important to you whether you are a member of the Saiyan royal family or not? Are you 25 or 26? Bellies thought for a moment and said, with a combat power of 18,000, that kind of strength would only make you a mere soldier in Frieza's hands. You dare to say that I am a soldier? Vegeta fell to the ground from a high altitude, his eyes red. Is not it? When you were a child, you had combat power that surpassed that of King Vegeta. How much have you improved in the past 10 years? Vegeta said with a cold expression, this is none of your business. Because I am very optimistic about your talent. Belly said quietly, maybe you will become a Super Saiyan in the future. HMPH, Super Saiyan, that's just a legend. Of course, if anyone can become a Super Saiyan, I must be the first. Then come on. Bellies didn't care, glancing pointedly at Vegeta's hand hidden behind her back. If you want to transform, just let it go. I won't stop you. Even if you become a Super Saiyan, you can't beat me. You don't have to worry about getting stuck in your throat when you talk big. Now that he was seen through, Vegeta generously placed the artificial moon behind him in front of him. Looking at the artificial moon that was about to take shape, Vegeta sneered. You can only be happy now. Even if I am not a Super Saiyan, my next transformation will be several times more powerful than now. Then hurry up, you're so slow. Bellies yawned. HMPH, as you wish. Page 74. Vegeta threw the artificial moon into the sky. Along with the moon, it emits unique wavelengths. Vegeta let out a beastly roar, and his body expanded rapidly, becoming taller. 10 meters, 100 meters. A gorilla several hundred meters tall appeared on the surface. With such a huge body, even one step would cause the earth to shake. Spider, it's so awesome, you can even transform. The feeling of oppression that hit my face was so powerful that I could see it through the screen. Aizen Sasuke, interesting. In Soul Society, the lenses on Aizen's nose are slightly reflective. Saiyans, an interesting race. I really want to study them. In Aizen's view, the life level of the Saiyan named Vegeta is not high, but the so-called Kai thing he possesses and the power he emits is very terrifying. Previously, Vegeta arrogantly stated in the chat group that his full blow could destroy a planet. Aizen didn't think that was Vegeta's nonsense. With Vegeta's character and arrogant personality, he basically can't lie. In other words, this Saiyan named Vegeta has the power to destroy stars. This is much more awesome than Captain Yamamoto. After all, a certain captain could not destroy a planet, no matter how hard he tried. At this time, in the live broadcast room, Vegeta's appearance as a giant gorilla is completely finalized. The roars of wild beasts emitted sound waves that made people's eardrums hurt. Not bad, the fighting power of a peak Jinyu. Bellies floated to a level with Vegeta indifferently. Repent, let me, the Saiyan Prince, end up in this state. Looking at Bellies, who could easily be crushed to death with one hand, Gorilla Vegeta opened his mouth and made a heavy sound. How arrogant! How has Vegeta been so suppressed these years that he must find an outlet elsewhere? He speaks like a Saiyan Prince, or else he is the pride of the Saiyans. Maybe it was caused by the stress of working under Frieza. In the past, the Vegeta she knew was obviously very cute. Forget it, end the battle as soon as possible. Keeping my own energy down and being cautious for a long time is also a big burden for me after my transformation. As Aizen said, stepping on ants without crushing them to death requires a lot of technical skills. What? I'm speechless. Are you scared by my strength? Gorilla Vegeta spoke loudly. This blow will completely destroy you. The gorilla opened its mouth, a large mouth full of jagged teeth, with stringy saliva, and looked extremely ferocious. Then, an energy wave that was countless times more terrifying than before spewed out. The terrifying light renders the dim sky white. When the energy wave pierced the sky and was about to hit Bellies, Bellies stretched out a finger, and a giant energy ball instantly condensed on her fingertips. The energy wave emitted by Vegeta falls on the energy ball. Not even a ripple was formed, and it was directly swallowed up by the energy ball. With a slight shake of his finger, an energy bullet comparable to a planet was pushed towards Vegeta. Vegeta's expression suddenly changed, and he wanted to control his body to defend himself. However, with an extremely frightened expression, Vegeta's body was completely swallowed by the energy bomb. The energy bomb that flooded Vegeta's body slowly hit the surface of the planet. After a few seconds, a loud noise and thick smoke rose into the sky. The entire planet turned into dust in the explosion. In the chat group, information is also displayed at this time. Ding, Vegeta is dead. The leader of the group, the #1 princess in the world, wins. Hearing the sound, Bellies exited the arena. Cull. Bellies, who had positioned herself in big characters and was lying on the grass, slowly opened her eyes after returning to consciousness. Vegeta, you really didn't recognize me. But think about it. No one would think that a person who should be dead is still alive and kicking. Moreover, my current hairstyle is very different from before. Except for the eyebrows, it is closer to the Super Saiyan 3 state. Well, it's okay if I didn't recognize him. If Vegeta recognized her, she still didn't know how to get along with Vegeta. Even if they are blood relatives, they have not been seen for so many years. To be honest, Bellies doesn't really like Vegeta's current personality. What's more, what would happen even if he recognized it? She couldn't do it now and drag Vegeta to the 10th universe. Even if he recognizes it, it will probably cause more troubles and may even increase Vegeta's risk in the 7th universe. Put awareness into the chat group again. At this time, the public screen of the chat group became very lively. Most of them were discussing the scene of the battle between group leader Bellies and Vegeta. Bellies didn't think too much and sent the message on the public screen. The world's #1 princess. At Vegeta, are you here? Did you become autistic after being beaten? After a while of silence, Vegeta, here, what's the matter? The world's #1 princess? Huh, you said it. I thought some proud Saiyan prince was secretly wiping tears in the spaceship because he accidentally lost a fight. He was crying and fussing. How pitiful. Vegeta, huh, if you lose, you lose. It's not like I can't afford to lose. In the spaceship, Vegeta had a dark look on his face. This group of leaders is probably not seriously ill. Not only do they have the same name, but their personality is also the same as her sister, so annoying. Chapter 78, Saiyans Coming to Earth. Elder sister. Vegeta looked away from the chat group. The image of the girl appeared in my mind, which was a little blurry. Subconsciously, he put his hand on his neck, gently opened the blue and white combat uniform, and took out a pendant hidden in the clothing. It was a blue, transparent prismatic decoration. Half a year before planet Vegeta was destroyed, his sister Belize gave him this pendant. He said it was an amulet and hoped he could wear it with him. Also reminded, if you can make the crystal pendant completely light up. We'll tell him a shocking secret. My combat power of 18,000 can only make the crystal 1/3 brighter. To make the crystal fully brighter, I need at least 50,000 combat power. Moreover, by lighting up the crystal pendant, the energy from transforming into a giant ape was actually useless. Even the giant ape's full blow could not destroy this hard pendant crystal. Simply incredible. Vegeta has also had some vague speculations about his sister Belly's fighting ability over the years. After all, Belly's had taught him how to control his energy and keep it down. But Vegeta just learned the method and basically never used it. Could it be that my sister's combat power exceeded 50,000 when she was about 10 years old? Vegeta couldn't help but think of the upper limit of the pendant's energy storage. If that's the case, it makes sense that he couldn't win. The different white hair distinguishes him from other black-haired Saiyans. In planet Vegeta, there was once a legend spread. The legendary Super Saiyan, who meets once in 1,000 years, is very different from ordinary Saiyans and possesses power far beyond that of ordinary Saiyans. Page 75. Even his father, King Vegeta, thinks so. My sister Belly's has been born with white hair. However, my sister did not live up to expectations. When she was born, it was said that she was just a scumbag with a combat power of 5. Compared to this Saiyan prince, who had a combat power of 3,000 at birth and an elite Saiyan with a combat power of over 10,000 at the age of 5, his sister was really too ordinary. For a low-level warrior like Belly's, King Vegeta just let it go. There is even the idea of sending Belly's to a remote planet. However, I hesitated in the end. Of course, this is not because of family affection or anything like that. The Saiyans are not indifferent to family affection, but they are not friendly either. Leaving his sister behind, in Vegeta's opinion, has only one purpose. That is to use his sister Belly's to set off his status as a noble Saiyan prince. However, Vegeta suddenly smiled bitterly. If you think about it carefully, every time I win against her, it seems like I was deliberately let down. Sister, has she been hiding something? The spaceship crashed in space. If it were before, Vegeta might not think much about it. Spaceships crashing into the universe are a common occurrence. Besides, unlike the frozen race, Saiyans can survive in the universe. However, the leader of the group said that Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta. The crash of my sister's spaceship was most likely not an accident. Vegeta even remembered something. One time, when he returned to Frieza's station from a battle planet, he heard the news that Ginyu, the captain of the Ginyu Special Forces, was seriously injured and was undergoing emergency rescue. Vegeta looked at the pendant on his chest. Perhaps when I fully activate the pendant, I will know the truth of everything. But even if it is solved, is there any point? Vegeta didn't know. If I hadn't seen the leader of the group, who looked almost similar to her sister, I would have forgotten about the amulet. Attention, please pay attention. In 10 minutes, the spacecraft will enter the atmosphere of the target planet. Soldiers in the spacecraft, please prepare for battle. A mechanical sound came. Through the narrow spacecraft window, a large blue planet surrounded by sea came into Vegeta's sight. On the Earth, feel the powerful breath coming from the sky. The Z warriors raised their heads. Piccolo's face turned green with fear. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and his brows were slightly condensed. These two evil auras are actually much more powerful than Raditz. Not only Piccolo, but also Tianjin Fan, Krillin, etc. were also frightened by the terrifying energy that descended. They are confident that they are no longer weaker than Raditz a year ago. Even if they are singled out, they are very likely to defeat the opponent. However, neither one of the two energies coming from the sky was confident that they could win. Even if they join forces, it is still unknown whether they can defeat them. I hope Wukong will come back soon. Klin murmured, and then chased directly in the direction of Chi's fall. Just as the Z warriors were approaching Nappa and Vegeta from all directions. Vegeta and Nappa's spaceship has landed on the ground. The two spherical spaceships, carrying the gravity of their fall, severely smashed a large crater into the ground. The two opened the hatch of the spacecraft and walked out. Nappa, who was wearing a combat effectiveness detector, glanced at the surrounding onlookers and found that no one had a combat effectiveness above 10. Huh, what a weak earthling. As he spoke, Nappa stretched out his fingers, wanting to destroy the crowd of ants and this ugly city together. And many more. Vegeta grabbed Nappa's wrist and suppressed Nappa's energy that had not yet fully risen. There's no need to add complications. We're looking for Kakarot. Vegeta gently picked it up with the fingers of his other left hand. As the air spread, the two spaceships that were pressed in the pit slowly floated in front of Vegeta. Holding Nappa in his right hand, Vegeta moved across the sky easily like he was carrying a chicken. The left hand controlled two spaceships, flying towards sparsely populated areas outside the city. The melon-eating crowd, watching Vegeta and Nappa, had different expressions on their faces. Who were those two people just now? It seems like aliens. How can they fly? What are those two ball-like things? The sound of chirping lingered in the city for a long time. At this time, Vegeta didn't care about this. He had already taken Nappa to a sparsely populated place and found a location to hide the two-person spaceship. After doing these things, Nappa finally couldn't bear it anymore. Vegeta, why did you stop me just now? Nappa was very puzzled. With Vegeta's past personality, it was impossible to spend time looking for a place to store the spaceship. Wherever he landed, he could just clear away the eyesores around him and then find a place to place the spaceship. Didn't the two of them do this all the time before? However, he was the one who took action. We are just here to borrow the Dragon Balls. There is no need to cause conflicts with the people in Kakarot. Moreover, based on the information Raditz passed before, those guys who fought against Raditz might be partners of justice. We are civilized people. We must be polite before fighting. Vegeta searched for a long time before he squeezed out such a meaningful sentence. What about this planet? Didn't you say you wanted to give it to Fu? We'll talk about it later. I'll give Frieza an explanation when I go back. Although Vegeta didn't know whether Nappa's detector had a listening device, he still explained. Nappa looked Vegeta up and down for a while and said, Vegeta, you seem to have changed. Come on, Vegeta rolled his eyes at Nappa. Do you think he wants to? He is for the method of transformation into Super Saiyan. And to avoid being kicked out of the group mercilessly by a certain group leader, I did this against my will. Chapter 79, The Arrival of Z-Warriors and the Division of Combat Power Levels. The #1 princess in the world. Hey, Vegeta, start the live broadcast, have you arrived on Earth? I want to see you get beaten up. Vegeta, I was beaten violently. Will I, the noble Saiyan prince, be beaten violently on a low-level planet? At Chinese letter, princess, leader of the group, are you awake? The world's #1 princess. Well, yes, actually, I don't care if I sleep or not. The world's #1 princess. Vegeta, do you want to know how to transform into a Super Saiyan? Then start a live broadcast. Vegeta, can't you just say something else? Vegeta's face turned dark as he waited for the Z-Warriors to come over. Damn it, if I couldn't beat you, I would have pressed you to the ground and rubbed you. The world's #1 princess. Super Saiyan is 50 times more powerful than normal, Vegeta. Are you not impressed? Vegeta, I think you are playing tricks on me, and I highly doubt it. Even if I can change, I probably won't be able to change now. The world's #1 princess. Congratulations, you got the answer right, you're very smart. Vegeta. The world's #1 princess. Vegeta, the conditions for Super Saiyan transformation are not difficult. You must first have a calm and peaceful heart. In other words, Saiyans like Kakarot are the easiest to transform. Vegeta, you want to say that I am not as good as a lower-level warrior. The world's #1 princess. I didn't say that, you did. Vegeta, Humph, is it going to be live broadcast? If you want to watch it, then watch it. Ding, Vegeta starts the live broadcast. Vegeta and Bald Nappa appeared in the live broadcast. The two men were wearing tight-fitting combat uniforms, and stood on the mountain wall covered with less, waiting for the enemy to arrive. Vegeta, someone is coming. The detector in Nappa's eye beeped. Spider, at Vegeta, let me ask you a question carefully. What is the big man next to you wearing in his eyes? There was silence in the chat group, and Vegeta didn't answer. Page 76. The world's #1 princess. At Vegeta, the social butterfly in our group, Spider-Man is asking you something. Can you be polite? Belly's words made Vegeta extremely aggrieved, but for a certain purpose, anyone could ignore them, but only the group leader had to answer. So, Vegeta entered information into the chat group very carefully. Vegeta, Nappa is wearing a combat power tester that measures the opponent's energy intensity. My combat power of 18,000 is also measured by this, and Nappa's combat power value is 4,000. Vegeta, I don't know how to calculate strength in your world, but in my opinion, Uchiha Madara's level, converted to our world, is a few hundred combat power. Uchiha Madara, I only have a few hundred. In the Pure Land, Uchiha Madara almost broke through. Under normal conditions, if you say I can't beat you Vegeta, I believe it. After all, this is the truth. This is why, after Uchiha Madara won once, no matter how much Vegeta shouted, he pretended not to hear. Because victory cannot be replicated a second time. But I, the mighty ninja Shura, am as weak as you say. Based on Uchiha Madara's self-measurement, he still has a combat power of several thousand. Are your algorithms scientific? Uchiha Madara, that group leader. The #1 princess in the world. Vegeta is right. Your strength is indeed not more than 1,000 when calculated based on the combat power of the Dragon Ball world. Bellies finally stopped hiding and directly attacked Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara? Uchiha Madara, then, how did I knock off 2 of your hairs? Thinking of the numerical difference mentioned by Vegeta, Uchiha Madara felt more and more incredible. In particular, Vegeta tried his best and failed to cause any harm to Bellies. Could it be that the group leader was in the hair loss period and happened to lose his hair? How is it possible? It's not a cat and it's still shedding hair. The #1 princess in the world. Well, actually I was afraid that you would lose face too much. After all, you are the first group member in the chat group. If you do too much, it would be unjustifiable, so I pulled out 2 of them. Uchiha Madara. Then I really thank you for giving me this face. The corner of Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched. What a cruel truth. Hashirama, did you see it? Even if you and I fit together, we won't be able to even scratch the surface of each other. Zerf, at Chinese letter NUMBERONEPRINCESS, how does Vegeta calculate the combat value? Is there a specific measurement standard for reference? As the most powerful mage in the fairy tale world, I was a little confused about what the group leader said. According to the group leader's previous statement, Vegeta's life level is not high. The first princess of the world, how should I put this? The laws of each world are different, and the manifestations of chi will also be different. Of course, in general, it is a kind of energy that the body emits outwards and receives feedback from the outside world. The world's #1 princess. For specific measurement standards, have you seen the green man named Piccolo in the live broadcast? After being reminded by the group leader, everyone focused their attention on the Z warriors who were waiting in full formation. The #1 princess in the world. Pico's combat power value is over 1,000. Of course, you may not be able to see the difference specifically. Bellies thought for a while and continued to enter information in the chat group. The world's #1 princess. I will use the planet as an example to roughly divide the combat power. Of course, this may not be very standard. You can refer to it yourself. The #1 princess in the world. Those with combat power below 1,000, let alone the former, are divided into city-destroying level and country-destroying level. Everyone knows that Uchiha Madara's strength is probably at the country-destroying level. The world's #1 princess. Next is a combat power of 1,000 or above, and within 10,000, which can be called a satellite level. The span is divided according to the size of the satellite. The #1 princess in the world. The one named Piccolo, not long ago, destroyed a moon from a long distance. He can destroy satellites near the planet with one full blow, which is called satellite level. The world's #1 princess. Let's put it this way. Aizen in the collapsed Jade State, a Sakura Leaf King who will reach the level of the Shaman King in the future, and Uchiha Madara who will become the Ten Tails Jinchuriki are all at this level. The world's #1 princess. As for Ying, it's more difficult for me to judge because the laws of that world are somewhat special. Bellies was silent for a while, giving everyone time to think, then paused and posted the information on the public screen again. The world's #1 princess. The combat power is between 1 and 1 million, which is usually called planet level. In other words, it can destroy a planet with all its strength, and the value is also related to the size of the planet. The world's #1 princess. The combat power is between 1 million and 1,000 billion, which is usually called a star level. The so-called star level can be as small as 1 star and as large as this star can cover all areas within this range. The world's #1 princess. That is to say, if you reach this level, you can destroy stars or the entire area covered by stars with all your strength. For example, Super 2 Lightning Cell and Super 3 Majin Buu are actually at this stage. The world's #1 princess. As for the higher divisions, I won't talk about it. The world's #1 princess. You can also guess that it is the galaxy level and the universe level. In short, the specific division of strength is very troublesome. After all, these latter involve laws and do not entirely depend on pure combat power. The world's #1 princess. The division of combat power I just mentioned only represents pure destructive ability, not life level. The world's #1 princess. In other words, a creature with a combat power of more than 1 million may only have a lifespan of 100 years. Even the soul disappears with the body and will dissipate quickly if it cannot enter the underworld. The first princess of the world. Of course, the influence of world laws in different worlds leads to different lengths of soul existence. This cannot be generalized. What I mentioned above refers to normal situations that do not involve the laws of the universe. The world's #1 princess. To put it simply, the level of life and the division of power are related, but sometimes there is a big difference. The world's #1 princess. So, do you understand? Chapter 80 Transition. There was silence in the chat group. Spider's Eye, group leader, you said so much, I still don't understand it. Spider, 1 combat power can destroy planets. Why can 1 million combat power still destroy planets? Shouldn't the gap be huge? Especially in terms of star level, can you explain it more clearly? Spider Zai expressed the doubts of many group members, and everyone was exposed to cosmic level combat power for the first time. Even Vegeta, who was confronting the Z warriors, kept part of his thoughts in the group and dived in secret. The world's #1 princess. Since you ask that, let me give an explanation using the solar system where some group members live as an example. The world's first princess stated, the biggest difference between stars and planets is their mass. Generally speaking, stars have a lower mass limit, measured in units of the sun. If a star is less than 1 times the mass of the sun, thermonuclear fusion cannot occur, and it cannot be called a star. The first princess of the world. Generally speaking, stars must be stronger than planets, which means that it takes more effort to destroy them. The world's #1 princess. That's why I use them to divide combat power. The world's #1 princess. Vegeta, with a combat power of 1.8, could destroy the planet he's standing on during his live stream. However, if he were to destroy Jupiter, which is over 1,000 times larger than this planet, Vegeta's power would likely be insufficient. The world's #1 princess. If we continue to expand to the largest planet discovered so far, this planet is over 7 times the size of Jupiter and could hold 7 Earths without feeling overcrowded. Vegeta's attack would only be a scratch on the planet. The world's #1 princess. Therefore, judging from the classification of planets and combat power, it is not surprising that there is such a big gap. After saying this, Bellies left several minutes for everyone in the group to digest. Then, organize the language and continue to type information on the public screen. the first princess of the world. Let's talk about stars next. As mentioned before, the mass of stars is much greater than that of planets, and they are also stronger and more troublesome to destroy. The world's number one princess. Generally speaking, it starts at 1 million and ends at 1,000 billion combat power. The world's number one princess. The stellar combat power is not limited to the star, but even includes the range that the light emitted by the entire star can radiate, such as the entire solar system. Destroying a sun with all your strength and destroying a solar system with all your strength are completely different concepts. The world's number one princess. There are big and small star systems, so the span of combat power is also very wide. The world's first princess. Take the solar system as an example. Its mass is over 30 times that of the Earth, and its volume is 130 million times that of the Earth. The solar radiation range is the limit. The world's number one princess. To completely destroy it, billions or even tens of billions of combat power are needed. Of course, if you only consider the star itself, the combat power required is much less. In the original work, Lightning Cell talked about destroying the solar system. There is a high probability that it will only destroy the Sun, the Earth, and some surrounding planets, but it will not completely wipe out the entire Sun from existence. The world's number one princess. There are many stars in the entire universe that are larger in mass and volume than the Sun, and their radiation range will be larger. The world's first princess. For example, a star like Stephenson could hold 100 billion suns or 1.3 quadrillion Earths. The world's number one princess. To destroy such a star system, the energy required is even more exaggerated. So do you think the combat power span of 1 million to 1,000 billion is very large? At this point in her explanation, Bellies stopped. In fact, the combat power is divided into more than 1,000 billion, which can no longer be calculated by pure strength. Qi is only a part of Jingqi Shen. Usually those who can reach this level of strength can basically master the laws except Qi. Regarding this point, only Dragon Ball World can compare with lumbar disc herniation. Super Blue Vegeta was actually killed by the explosion of the Earth. Even if he was not killed by the explosion, he was suffocated. It is incredible to think about it. There was silence in the chat group for a long time. As expected, the first person to speak was a certain spider. Spider's eye, it's so profound. I suddenly realized that I am so small, even though I have become a god. Uchiha Madara, the sky is indeed very vast. Can anyone really achieve the strength that the group leader said? Not to mention the satellite level, but the planetary level and star level. It seems that this kind of power is not something that humans can achieve. The world's number one princess. Yes, there are many. The universe under my jurisdiction has a star-level combat power. Not only the combat power, but also the life level and soul level are not weak. Bellies, who is worried about the Tournament of Power, has worked diligently over the years. The score of Universe 10 has increased significantly. The one whose strength has improved the most is Wapuni, who already has strength close to Super Saiyan 3. Not only the Qi, but also the life level and soul level have been further improved. Bellies even thought about letting Wapuni serve as King Yama of the 10th universe, but he rejected it for some reason. Vegeta, HMPH, I see. It seems that Frieza isn't that strong after all. Page 77, in the world of Dragon Ball. Vegeta crossed his arms across his chest, spread his legs slightly, and had an unruly expression on his face. Frieza, who has a combat power of 53, is just like him, with planet-level combat power. He is a planetary level, and Frieza is also a planetary level. So it turns out that Vegeta equals Frieza. What kind of emperor of the universe? Of course, even though he thought so in his heart, Vegeta still didn't dare to say it out loud. Who knew that the detector in Nappa's eye socket was equipped with a listening device? As for the lack of destruction detector, it is because I want to see Kakarot's strength in 1 year. The group leader actually said that he, an elite warrior, was no match for a low-level warrior. Hey, guy with a bald head and a face that's scary to say green, when will Kakarot be resurrected? Isn't he here yet? When Vegeta spoke, Nappa subconsciously touched his head, which had lost all his hair. I always felt that Vegeta was making insinuations. Then, Goku will be here soon, please wait a moment. Looking at Vegeta's short body, Krillin wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. This sense of oppression was too strong, far more terrifying than that big bald man. Wukong, you are still in the snake path of the underworld. You came too fast. You promised to go 1 year later, but the ball arrived half a year later. Piccolo's face turned green with anger when someone called him frightened. I almost rolled up my sleeves and went to fight, but when I thought that I seemed to be invincible, I calmed down. After all, when Sun Wukong comes over, his own advantage will increase. Chapter 80, One Vegeta's Game. Oh, are you blaming us for coming too fast? Nappa said coldly, don't forget that Raditz was killed by you. If I remember correctly, Raditz is Kakarot's brother. Kakarot is really cruel. No, we never felt that way. A few drops of cold sweat appeared on Bix's forehead, and he quickly made up for it. It's just that we estimated the time wrong. HMPH, a low-level soldier, even if he comes, what can he do? Prince Vegeta, I find these Earthlings very distasteful. Nappa looked disdainful. I really don't understand why Vegeta doesn't allow him to take action. That's not necessary, Nappa. Raditz brought it upon himself. He can't handle it himself. What does it have to do with us? Green man, are you a Namekian? Vegeta said calmly. Piccolo's eyes twitched when he heard the voice. Namekians, I don't understand what you're talking about. Really? Vegeta's eyes moved slightly. My sister once mentioned that there are things called wishing beads in the universe. After collecting 7 of them, you can summon a dragon that can fulfill any wish. It seems to be related to Namek. She also said that if she had an accident, she would ask me to find the Dragon Balls to revive her in the future. Speaking of which, I always thought she was talking nonsense. Seeing your appearance, and then mentioning that there are Dragon Balls on Earth, it does meet the requirements of the Namekians. It is rumored that the Namekians have magical powers. I guessed right, they are probably the Dragon Balls. The Namekians, Piccolo's expression became confused. Are you really not from Earth? But think about it, there is indeed a big difference between myself and the people on Earth. The 10th universe, destroying the divine world. The plot has obviously been changed. Why does Vegeta still mention Dragon Balls and Namek? Moreover, before you mention Namek, can you destroy Nappa's combat power tester? Bellies was really speechless. Will there be a Namek chapter after the Earth chapter? To be honest, Vegeta mentioned Namek, which is really not his fault. Because half a year before planet Vegeta was destroyed. That is, when she handed the crystal pendant to Vegeta, she mentioned the Dragon Balls once, hoping that Vegeta could resurrect her by then. Of course, this was a precautionary measure. After all, at that time, she didn't know whether she could survive the destruction of planet Vegeta. Call her selfish or scared. After becoming a Saiyan princess, apart from improving her strength, she basically never did any bad things. She also did things like helping an old lady cross the road from time to time. I have no choice but to do this in order to go to heaven after death. The memory and soul have not been washed away. In heaven, there is still a chance to turn over and return to the human world. For example, the Monkey King in the original novel. If you do all the bad things and go to hell, that's the end of it. In the past 10 years on planet Vegeta, Bellies had almost thought of every way to survive. Before and after life, everything was clearly arranged. Moreover, she had to be careful about Frieza, who asked her to bear the symbol of a heterochromatic Saiyan. However, it was not used in the end. Thinking about it, even with Vegeta's arrogant character, even the thought of resurrecting his sister seems slim. The Namek chapter, Bellies murmured while watching the live broadcast. The plot has changed, and there is no abnormal news from Kessie. In a way, no news is the best news. She also doesn't want to have another parallel universe in the 7th universe. I don't even want to have another parallel universe with the whole universe. Look again, look again. If there is no parallel universe, we can secretly help Vegeta. At least in the possible Namek chapter, it will not be done directly. Vegeta, open your eyes and see. This is the love a sister has for her brother. Unlike you, you haven't even thought of resurrecting me for so many years. My love for you before was really in vain. Bellies shook her head to get rid of the messy things in her mind. The focus returned to the live broadcast again. At this time, the live broadcast room. Vegeta jumped from the high cliff to the ground. He looked at the Z warriors with flat eyes. In the distance, Warrior Z saw Vegeta suddenly fall, and suddenly became very energetic. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Vegeta smiled. Since Kakarot didn't come, I will play with you. Of course, if you don't try your best to make me happy, if I get angry, you will too. Will die. In the chat group, Vegeta promised the group leader that he would not kill anyone. As for why the group leader asked him to do this, Vegeta didn't ask. He vaguely guessed that it might be related to the future. However, not killing people does not mean that you cannot beat people. Moreover, after being beaten so badly by the group leader before, wouldn't it be frustrating if he didn't have something to entertain him? What's more, he is now live broadcasting. Doesn't it just change the impression of him in the group? He Vegeta is not a weakling. Do we have to fight? Klin swallowed. Unlike Raditz before him, Vegeta and the two came to Earth without causing trouble or killing anyone. At this time, Krillin didn't really want to fight his opponent. Even if the other party wants to use the Dragon Balls or wants to see Goku, it's the same. Even if I have any ideas, I hope to wait until Wukong comes back before talking about it. You can choose not to, but I will definitely take action. Vegeta held out 5 fingers. Give you 5 seconds to think about it. I will attack after 5 seconds. 5s. 4. 3. 2. Before Vegeta finished counting, except for Son Gohan, the other Z warriors looked at each other and rushed towards Vegeta almost in unison. Since no one will die, although I don't know whether what the other party said is true, it is better to strike first than to be beaten later. Then, Yuncha, Klin, Piccolo, Dumpling, and Tianjin Fan attack at the same time. Devil penetrating light-killing cannon. Dao Debo. Qigong cannon. Turtle-style Qigong 2. 5 attacks came at Vegeta from all directions. I see, you really have hidden your strength. Page 78. Vegeta has almost never used the method of hiding his Kai, but he still remembers the specific method of using it. Years ago, her unreliable sister taught him a similar method. Drink! Vegeta shouted loudly. White arcs of electricity rose up all over his body. In an instant, a wave of energy enveloped Vegeta's whole body. All energy waves were suppressed by the huge arrogance of Vegeta. Boom! A violent explosion erupted from where Vegeta stood. Then billowing smoke rose. You didn't dodge, are you so confident? Piccolo, the strongest man, frowned slightly. Ridiculous. In the smoke, Vegeta's sneer came. With your 3-legged cat skills, do I, the elite warrior of the Saiyan clan, still need to hide? Vegeta glanced back. Nappa, throw the detector to them. What? Nappa looked confused. I said detector, throw it towards them. Vegeta clenched his fist and pointed his right thumb at himself. Show them the true strength of my Saiyan prince. Nappa heard it clearly this time, but... Damn Vegeta, you're showing off and want my detector, where's your own? Although he thought so in his heart, Nappa still threw the detector at Sun Wuhan's position very carefully. Sun Gohan's body was trembling a little. Piccolo, who looked up and saw the sky, didn't say anything, so he took the detector that Nappa threw towards him and caught it in his hand. Kakarot's son, put that on and let you see with your own eyes the gap in strength between me, an elite warrior, and your damn father. A low-level warrior like Kakarot that can never make up for it. Chapter 82 Vegeta Rises. Vegeta clenched his hands into fists, stood up on his horse, and began to gather energy. Drink, Atilda. He screamed louder and louder. With Vegeta as the center, the surrounding ground began to tremble. The gravel on the ground kept beating as the surface vibrated, making a crackling sound. This terrifying energy even frightened the Z warriors in the sky. What a powerful energy. On Bix's gloomy face, a round drop of sweat flowed down his cheek and slowly to his chin. His eyes showed a look of shock. Is this what Raditz said, a Saiyan stronger than him? Can such terrifying energy really be possessed by humans? The whole earth was shaking. Piccolo's eyes moved slightly, and he saw other people who were trembling like him. As the great demon king Piccolo, I feel timid, let alone others. Gohan, Piccolo thought of the combat power tester that Nappa had just thrown over. What is Vegeta's combat power? I woo. Gohan staggered back continuously, his feet lost their footing and he fell to the ground. He supported the ground with his hands, barely able to maintain his balance. Okay, that's scary, Uncle Piccolo. Gohan, did you hear me? It depends on Vegeta's fighting ability. In the sky, Piccolo's voice came for the second time, with a hint of hatred in his voice. After a year of training, this is what happens on the spot. Sun Wukong, is this your son? 118000, the value above is 18,000. Gohan trembled and shouted, as if he was afraid that Piccolo didn't hear him. 18,000. Gohan's voice surrounded everyone's ears. Are you kidding me? Ha 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 ha. Klin felt that his hands and feet were a little cold. Bulma had used a detector before, but now his combat power was only over 1,000. I'm afraid other people are also in this range. Maybe Piccolo is a little stronger than them, but 2,000 or 3,000 may be the limit. Is this more than one? Now Klin can't imagine what kind of level this is. Hey hey. Vegeta was very satisfied with everyone's expressions and said with a sneer, See, this is the true strength of the Saiyan Prince. My stat is 18,000. A combat power of over 1 is rare in the entire universe. As for the planet under your feet, if I want to, I can destroy it in a minute. The gap between you and me is like a grain of rice and a bright moon. Even Kakarot, who you have high hopes for, will not be my opponent. That's right, that's right. This is the expression he should have. There was fear in his eyes and a hint of disbelief, especially when he said that he could destroy the stars. These natives trembled unconsciously. The scene in front of him was the expression he should have when seeing the Saiyan Prince. In the group, what are those idiots? Especially the one named Uchiha Madara, because in the arena, people are killed but not dead. With only a few hundred combat power, he still wants to kill himself. It was simply an insult to him, the Saiyan Prince. At this time in the chat group, Madara Uchiha, the guy named Vegeta, is so good at pretending. He's not like me, someone who can be killed by the leader of the group with just one move. What's so cool about him? Especially as the administrator of the chat group, Uchiha Madara's personality is much more cheerful than before, which may have been infected by a certain social butterfly. In short, you cannot win in a fight, but you can never lose in a bickering. Spider's Eye, that's right. When I asked him something before, he was indifferent, as if he was the first in the world and he was the second. Those who didn't know thought he was the group leader, otherwise he would be the same as the group leader. What does it matter? Spider, guys like this are usually the villains who get slapped in the face in TV series. Ying, having said that, Vegeta is still quite strong. If we don't consider targeted plans, under normal circumstances, except for the group leader, can anyone in our group beat Vegeta? On Inazuma's side, she secretly followed her brother because she discovered a serious problem. My brother was deceived by the eldest lady named Kamisato Ayaka, and got involved in an incident that he shouldn't have been involved in. There may also be gods involved. To be honest, Ying sometimes really feels that Kong is very capable of causing trouble. Mondstadt is wanted, and Liu is almost the same. Does Dao Wife still want to be wanted? Or even do something more exaggerated, such as fighting Thor directly? No, have you forgotten what level you are now? As Sakura Leaf King, I can't beat Vegeta. If I use curses or other methods, it's still possible. From the front, I can definitely be killed instantly. Hearing Ying's words, a Sakura Leaf King thought about the possibility of facing Vegeta and found that there was a chance of winning, but the hope was slim. Aizen Sasuke, luck is sometimes a kind of strength. I'm very curious about the thing called Chi in Vegeta's world. A Sakura Ewing, at Chinese letter, Yourusuke, let's not talk about Vegeta. Let's talk about the world you live in. You have not introduced your own world for so long since you have been here. A secure leaf king, although I can't read minds across chat groups, judging from the information you said, you don't seem to be a very kind person, at least not a pure Miko like Kikyo. Aizen Sasuke, I am just an ordinary captain in our world. If you want to say that, I am an office worker with a mixed salary. A secure leaf king, an ordinary captain, an office worker. Can an office worker be able to destroy satellites? For this group member, who joined at the same time as himself, Makang Yueng never gave up paying attention to his actions and words. In particular, I noticed that some of the things uploaded by Aizen Sasuke, some soul-related skills, are not like the kind of simple understanding. There is a high probability that they may have been tested and the results were obtained before they were uploaded. Thinking back to what the group leader just said, Bengyu's Aizen possesses satellite-level strength. It's not as simple as what Aizen said now. At least it's similar to him, or similar to Uchiha Madara, a big boss level. Aizen Sasuke, at Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, we belong to different worlds. Even if you observe me, it will not do you any good. Besides, didn't the group leader say anything? The world's #1 princess. At Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, YOURSUKE, please don't involve me. I don't want to interfere with your affairs. As long as you don't act like a monster in the group, I won't target you. Aizen Sasuke, that's natural. Compared with you, I'm far behind. The world's #1 princess. I hope so. The world's #1 princess. At Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, YOURSUKE, let me ask you a question. Has Kurosaki Ichigo entered Soul Society? Page 79. Bellies was a little curious. Since Aizen still calls himself captain, how far has the plot of the Shinigami world developed? Aizen Sasuke. Not long ago, the captain of the 6th Division captured Rukia Kuchiki, who lent her power to humans without permission. The world's #1 princess. I understand, you haven't faked your death yet. Aizen Sasuke, you really know a lot about the world I live in. Although many members in the group have said that the group leader knows most of the past and future events of the group members, even Aizen Sasuke would still feel a little uneasy if someone told him about the future directly. The world's #1 princess. No need to test me. I can kill you any time I want. Even if you reach the limit of Bengyu, there is no point. The #1 princess in the world. Be yourself in the group. As long as you are not disliked by most of the group members, I will not kick you out. When Aizen gave Kikyo some knowledge about ghost ways, the way those nice people talked made Bellies a little disgusted. Although it's not a big problem, I just don't like this guy. You have to give Aizen some warning, otherwise he will really be a little distracted. Aizen seemed to understand the meaning of the group leader's words. Aizen Sasuke, thank you for your guidance, I know what to do. Chapter 80, 3 Vegeta's highlight moment. Do you really know? In the God of Destruction realm, Bellies didn't care much about Aizen's answer. As long as the order of the chat group is not disrupted, there is no need for her to take care of it. The purpose of the chat group is mainly to improve her strength, especially in terms of laws. The rest should be to provide some benefits to the group members so that they can change the established history. That is enough. As for good and bad, good and evil, it is often determined by different standpoints. Besides, he himself is the god of destruction and not a good person himself. As long as some big bosses in the group are not disliked by most of the group members, Bellies doesn't bother to care what they do. Bellies turned her attention to the live broadcast again. After Vegeta exploded, he looked like a proud dragon. He held out a finger. In just a moment, I can have you all lying down. Then come and give it a try. As a martial artist, Tianjin Fan couldn't stand Vegeta's provocative behavior. HMPH, let's start with you three-eyed monster. What a guy, you actually dare to refute. Vegeta left an afterimage in place. Boom! A punch was thrown. Tianjin Rice flew out. Sky. Just as Dumpling reacted, before he finished speaking, Vegeta also kicked him away. This is the second one, Vegeta sneered. Then disappeared again. Almost in the next second. Klin fell from a high altitude and hit the ground hard. Yamcha hit the ground at about the same time. The third. The fourth. Vegeta repeated his old tricks and launched a surprise attack on Piccolo. Boom! Piccolo stacked his hands to block Vegeta's punch and retreated slightly. What a heavy fist. Cold sweat broke out on Piccolo's forehead. Not bad, Namekian. Vegeta kicked Piccolo in the head with his right foot. Boom! With the huge impact, Piccolo's head shook and his eyes turned white. The dizzy Piccolo hit the ground at a 45-degree angle, immediately creating a large crater of 4 to 5 meters on the surface. Uncle Piccolo! A cry of surprise came, and Vegeta looked down subconsciously. Son Gohan releases energy waves from his hands. Magic flash. Vegeta smiled disdainfully and flicked his wrist. As soon as the energy wave reached in front of him, it was deflected by Vegeta's hand and flew straight into the sky. Then, Vegeta landed at an extremely fast speed and appeared behind Son Gohan before he had time to react. Kid, since you chose to join the war, you should also lie down. With one blow, the hand knife hit Sun Wuhan on the neck. Sun Wuhan made a sound similar to a hiccup and fell to the ground softly. After doing this, Vegeta glanced at the combat power detector that he deliberately shattered with his energy when he knocked out Son Gohan. Then he flew into the sky and returned to Nappa unhurriedly. After patting the dust off his clothes, Vegeta sat down cross-legged, held his chin with one hand, and laughed disdainfully. I thought I had some abilities, but that's all. Vegeta, why don't you give these guys a final blow? Nappa asked, looking at the Z warriors who fell to the ground. It doesn't matter, it's not a big problem. Even if they add Kakarot, it won't cause any trouble to me. You are so confident. You are worthy of being a prince, but you are not afraid of overturning. Nappa always felt that Vegeta was hiding something from him, but as a subordinate, it was hard to ask too many questions. Ha 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 ha. Vegeta laughed endlessly, don't tell such jokes. Judging from their strength, they are indeed a little better than what Raditz said, but that's it. When Raditz came to Earth, the one named Piccolo was about the same strength as Kakarot. Even if Kakarot appears now, he has 1,000 or 2,000 more combat power than this guy named Piccolo, which is the limit. What difference does this kind of strength make to me? After saying these words, Vegeta was silent for a long time and then said calmly, Nappa, I want to stay on Earth for a while, and I plan to change my wish to the Dragon Ball to become immortal. What? Nappa's expression changed drastically, and then he looked at Vegeta. Can you give me a reason? Our planet was destroyed not by meteorites, but by Frieza's hand. This, Nappa's pupils suddenly shrank. Vegeta did not hide anything from his subordinates, saying, I plan to find a way to defeat Frieza on Earth. Defeat Frieza? Nappa frowned. Is it the Dragon Ball? That's right, immortality, coupled with Cyan's ability to recover from injuries, will enhance combat effectiveness. As long as you and I are immortal, it's only a matter of time before we surpass Frieza's 53 combat power. This is also the reason why I didn't kill the people on Earth, because Frieza would probably change his direction and fly to Earth. What? Nappa was suddenly startled. Not just Nappa, but even the gods far away in the Celestial Temple. Through my relationship with Piccolo, I heard the conversation between Vegeta and Nappa, and I was so frightened that I was almost speechless. Vegeta's combat power of 18,000 is so terrifying. What will happen to the Earth with Frieza's 530,000? Worry appeared on the vicissitudes of the god's face. He listened attentively to Vegeta and Nappa's conversation. Anyway, the two of them did not kill the Z warriors, and the god was not in a hurry. He happened to hear a piece of news that was extremely important to him. In the wilderness, Vegeta glanced at the Z warriors who had not yet woken up, and said to Nappa, the combat power tester I was wearing had Frieza's listening device, so I destroyed it. As for whether you have the one, I don't know. Anyway, I have destroyed it. Monitor Frieza has been monitoring us, Nappa asked in surprise. That's right, Vegeta nodded. Do you know why I mentioned Namek just now? Because those words were meant for Frieza. With his character, If he knew that Namek was the birthplace of the Dragon Balls, he would most likely go to Namek to look for the Dragon Balls. And Frieza's wish, if nothing else, is to gain permanent life. Of course, if your detector doesn't have a listening device, then Frieza is most likely on his way to Earth at this time. Seeing the worried expression on Nappa's face, Vegeta smiled and said, "Page 80, don't worry, we still have enough time." When we were in the spaceship, I paid attention to Frieza's movements, his current location. If we go to Namek and then return to Earth, we have more than 2 or even 3 years. If Frieza goes directly to Earth, we will have close to 2 years' time. As long as we gain immortality, 2 years will be enough for us to surpass Frieza. But if Frieza goes to Namek, the Dragon Balls there might be more powerful than those on Earth. Nappa expressed his worries. Frieza will not think that someone can kill him, so even if he wishes on the Dragon Balls, he will only wish for immortality, not immortality. So as long as we obtain immortality, when our combat power exceeds his, we can still kill him. After killing Frieza, I'm thinking about longevity. After listening to Vegeta's explanation, Nappa clapped his hands and exclaimed, "As expected of your highness, you are indeed far-sighted and far-sighted. I am not as good as you." Chapter 84 Sun Wukong arrives. Card bug counter-killing Frieza. During the live broadcast, Bellies was a little surprised by the conversation between Vegeta and Nappa. Theoretically, it's not impossible. Subconsciously thinking about what Vegeta did. However, Frieza's combat power is really 53. Frieza's true combat power is 1.2 million. Killing Frieza just by relying on bugs is a bit of a fantasy. After the strength reaches the limit of Super Saiyan, that is, the basic combat power is 300 million. The combat effectiveness, basically improved by the card bug, is minimal. I'd better tell Vegeta later that the Dragon Balls can't be used like this. The God of Earth and the half-assed Dragon Ball wish for immortality, most likely at the expense of potential. Just like in the Dragon Ball Super comics, Jas and Granola wish to be the strongest in the universe. As a result, Dragon Ball itself does not have the ability to forcibly communicate with the law of Salama, resulting in an equivalent exchange. It means sacrificing lifespan to become the strongest. Of course, this kind of strength only goes so far. Except for the Super Dragon Balls, the wishes of the Dragon Balls related to Sarama will be lower than the level of the God of Destruction. This is also the conclusion Baileys came to after comprehending the power of the dragon. In other words, the so-called strongest Granola and Jas in the universe are only below the level of God of Destruction. By the way, let's first explain to Vegeta about Son Goku's fighting ability. At least he can't be as weak as in the original novel. Vegeta sat cross-legged on the ground, keeping his spirits up and waiting for Kakarot's arrival. "HMPH, my destined rival and friend." Vegeta whispered, "How could I, Vegeta, have such a thing?" Vegeta, who had closed his eyes to rest, suddenly opened his eyes. At this time, all the Z-fighters woke up and staggered to the side in 2s and 3s. Vegeta glanced at the men, then looked up at the distant sky. Is this what my sister said, the feeling of chi? The battle with the Z-warriors was considered a battle for now, and Vegeta quickly mastered this method. After all, her sister Baileys also taught similar things, but she didn't pay much attention to learning at the time, and there was no use for it. Not bad power, Kakarot. Judging from the energy, it's probably over 5,000. As for explosive power, is it 8,000? Vegeta stood up and said to Nappa, "Wait a minute, you don't have to interfere or care, just watch quietly." "What do you mean?" Nappa asked, confused. "HMPH, Kakarot has arrived, and his combat power is probably over 5,000. What, a mere low-level warrior actually has 5,000? Don't underestimate him. From Raditz to now, his strength has improved so much in such a short period of time. He must have had an extraordinary experience." Vegeta said calmly, as if I was an expert. "However, actually..." The group leader also said just now that Kakarot has a skill that doubles his combat power, usually 2 times, and the price is 3 times. If you don't give up your life, you may be able to use it 4 times. Although Vegeta didn't want to believe it, for some reason, when the words came out of the group leader's mouth, Vegeta unexpectedly believed them. Even he himself didn't know what was going on. Is it because the group leader has power beyond Frieza? In any case, Vegeta does not intend to underestimate his opponent this time. After some time of waiting, Sun Wukong finally arrived. When he saw that everyone was safe and sound, he immediately let go of his anxiety. First, he said hello to Piccolo, and then walked towards the friendly people. After learning the information from the Z warriors, Sun Wukong thought thoughtfully, so that's it, they want to use the Dragon Balls. However, because Vegeta and Nappa are not involved in killing people, Sun Wukong doesn't have much resistance to the two coming over and wanting to use the Dragon Balls. Krillin said, "Goku, be careful. That little guy is Vegeta. He has a combat power of 18,000. He said he can destroy the Earth with one move. Wukong, can you do such a thing? If Goku can do it, then they might still have hope of winning. If you can't do it, then I don't know. If I double the Kaioken, maybe I can give it a try." Sun Wukong, do you mean that you also have the ability to destroy the Earth? Piccolo came over at some point, and Son Gohan was standing next to Piccolo. Those who didn't know it thought Piccolo was Gohan's biological father and Sun Wukong was his stepfather. Yeah, almost. Sun Wukong nodded to Piccolo and said to Gohan, "Gohan, you've become stronger too." That's Uncle Piccolo's credit. Gohan lowered his head and showed a shy expression. HMPH, make no mistake, I'm just dealing with the Saiyan situation. I can help your son, but I don't necessarily have to give up my ambition to conquer the world. Yes, it is indeed Piccolo. Sun Wukong nodded anyway, thank you. Don't talk about this. What are you going to do with those two Saiyans? Piccolo said, to tell you the truth, I can't beat any of them. Even if all of us join forces, we can barely fight that big man at best. It is basically impossible to win. Piccolo has nearly 4,000 combat power and can sense the energy in Nappa's body relatively clearly. If this guy explodes, his strength may need to be improved. The two want to use the Dragon Ball, what do you think? Wukong asked. I'm not a god, and I don't care about the dragon beads. Whether you want to give them to them or not is up to you. Well, let's fight first. The guy named Vegeta seems to have been waiting for a long time. Goku said with a smile. You are really optimistic, Bick said coldly. Don't say that. I also learned some pretty good moves from Caillou, and I just want to try them. After finishing speaking, Sun Wukong left the team and walked to a position not too far away from Vegeta. Are you the Saiyans Raditz mentioned? I am Son Goku. Nappa was about to speak, but Vegeta reached out to stop him. Vegeta took a few steps forward, then jumped, falling from the cliff to the ground, facing Sun Wukong from a distance. Kakarot, that's the name your father Bardock gave you, Vegeta said. My father, Sun Wukong was stunned when he heard this. That's right, Vegeta said. Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta many years ago. After your father Bardock knew about it, he sent you to Earth. There are very few surviving Saiyans in the entire universe, so we asked Raditz to pick you up before. We didn't expect that Raditz would die here. Raditz, you're not just here to take me away. You're here to destroy all humans. Son Goku looked at Vegeta critically. Normal, this is what we Saiyans do, or what Frieza asked us to do. We Saiyans have been conquering and selling planets for Frieza, but Frieza thought we might threaten him, so he exterminated us. I have recently confirmed that Frieza is the murderer of planet Vegeta. Vegeta said, Chapter 85 Sun Wukong and Vegeta, The Fateful Battle. Don't you think it's cruel? I'm not talking about the genocide of the Saiyans, but your act of killing the planet. Sun Wukong said. Sure enough, as Raditz said, you lost your brain after the fall. Vegeta was not in a hurry and replied, Saiyans eat a lot of food. When you eat chicken, duck, and fish, do you feel that you are cruel? Sun Wukong was silent, seemingly unable to refute this. Vegeta continued, I won't say anything about the truth. This is what many powerful groups in the entire universe are doing. Furthermore, Nappa and I, knowing the truth, do not plan to serve Frieza anymore. Vegeta said this, and then looked at Sun Wukong for a while. All right, legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.